Okay, that's kind of that's what that I'm warming into that. That's solid.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Yo, look.
Yo.
TriHex is here.
Yo,
What's
what
up?
up,
What's
dude?
up? What's up?
Yo.
Your favorite global emotes in this bitch? What's happening? What's
up,
happening?
dude?
What's happening,
I'm
bro?
awake. I don't know if you
Yeah, what's up, dude?
It's shit, man.
What's good, yo?
That's wild. This is the emote in the flesh, man. Yeah, spam it, boys. Spam it. Yeah,
Yeah,
fuck
what
it.
you want to do? I was told just to come in here and crash a party, so I
Yeah,
mean,
you can crash my party. We're hanging, man.
what are we doing?
We were fucking mailing it in.
Okay.
What do you think? Yeah, late at night. I'm watching a dumb video.
No, dude, I love some quality reacts.
What do you?
How would you rate your reacts?
My reacts. I'm a fucking S tier reactor.
Like from XQC to like 10 out of 10. You're max react. Like you
I think my chat hates when I react because I just talk the whole time and then in the video and never go back.
You're a pauser.
Yeah.
You pause hard, bro.
As far as effort's concerned,
okay.
I'm at the top.
So you have high ambition, but your race is bad.
No, one could call it non-existent. It's mostly me rambling at any given moment. Yeah, that's it. I don't think that
it happens to the best of us, you know. It's coming from a good area. You're compassionate. You're excited. You want to like. You know,
I want to look. I don't want to mail it in, right? I think that's what I fear. Anytime I'm live, I feel like it is my duty to bludgeon them with information they didn't ask for. You know, to just weigh them down with my own existential dread at any given moment. That's my job.
Understandable.
Also, I'm Wake, by the way.
Wait.
Other person. Welcome to my room. I
Venom.
didn't know we'd have visitors, so my room is very messy.
We triple checked and.
Wait,
Bonnie
No,
said
you
that
are
the-
welcome
you
to.
guys have the same.
Yeah.
Why do we have the same one?
We have because we probably bought the one on Amazon. We
I
looked
think
up
it's the
gua
cheapest
sha or
one.
whatever. Yeah, it's like $2. Is nothing.
Also, I love this. Kind of going like fourth wall here, but like, is this like? I love this.
Are you gonna compliment my mattress on the floor? Like this is the embodiment of
Streamer degeneracy.
an absence of ambition. Like this is like I've got bad anime figurines. No one. Oh my god! What did you hand?
It's so cute.
Oh my god!
It's the cutest little
That is
cat.
It's not a real cat. It's an AI generated
What the fuck?
amalgamation
are you?
of like max cuteness.
Oh my god! Look at this little cherub face. What the fuck is this?
It's a Scottish.
I'm
fold.
freaking out. I'm yelling at you.
It's
You're
Andrew's
so
new
cute.
cat.
Is it even real?
You probably shouldn't go around in here. It's can't be safe. This is the cutest thing. This isn't real.
No.
This is synthetic cat. Like I'm freaking out. I can't let you go though, but I know you probably don't want to get handled like this forever. Why are you so sweet? Dude, look at this thing. Why are its eyes so big? Oh my god.
It's also the cutest
Here.
fucking cat ever.
Dude. So sweet.
just
What's your
crying.
name?
Suki.
Suki? You're so fucking cute. Hi. So what are you guys doing here? What are you doing in town? What's the word?
You want the honest answer?
Yes, of course.
So Miskiff said that I was shit at Mario 64, 70 star, and that he can kick my ass.
No,
in a-
pulverize him. Fucking
Yeah, he says he can kick my ass in a 30-day challenge, and I'm like, that's cap, bro. I'm coming.
No, yeah.
So I was like, so he said, all right, cool, coming. I'm like,
Wait, so what's the challenge? Give me the stakes.
the challenge is that in 30 days, so starting tomorrow, tomorrow-ish, whenever he like wakes up or whatever, the grind begins, right? And whoever has the fastest 70-star time in 30 days by end of September is the winner.
Okay, and
Now,
so
what
you
the
were like,
stakes are, we don't know yet.
are you
That's
gonna
what-
be here for 30 days?
Yeah, I'm.
You were
literally-
like, I'm gonna be in his shit. I'm gonna be.
Bro,
is it you're mad dogging?
He was talking that noise.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, I'm better than Lakari. Yeah, Lakari ain't me, bro. Like,
No, he's not.
Yeah,
No.
like,
Does he have a global emote?
no,
Exactly.
no.
Who the
Dude,
fuck is he?
Dude, first off, Agers fell off so hard. Like, that's like a boomer meme now. No one cares about that anymore. Like,
I don't even know what that
TriHard
is. Do you want to
still
know when
being
I
written.
started? I started streaming like a year and a half, 2 years ago,
Okay.
and that's when I discovered streaming.
Damn.
So you're talking to. Don't get me wrong. I've steeped in the lore. I've been handed,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the archives, and I've read in. You know, like I
Right,
know my
yes.
stuff
You're a
now.
historian. Okay, I see you.
But when it comes to whatever you just said,
Mm-hmm.
was it Agers?
Yeah. I mean,
What does it mean?
So the Miskiff Sims, they know it's the egg. I don't know. It's just,
Oh wait,
so-
do you mean to say egg and you say egg?
yeah. I don't even know what it's called.
Oh, okay,
here.
wait,
It's
wait,
like the
but you
thing-
mean the
it's like-
food, like the thing that a chicken lays?
Yeah, Agers. Yeah.
Man, that are you Midwestern
Like it's like
as hell?
EGG like ORZ, Agors or Agers, I don't know, something like that. I don't know. Like, you know, the idea is that, like, you know, like Tyler 1, Miskiff has like a giant dent in his head because he's like he was dropped as a child or whatever, and you know, that's emo. You know, that's what they do. They pay
Oh, okay, got it. So
Yeah.
it was a wound thing we're referencing.
Yeah, you
Your
know,
parents
it's,
sucked.
you know, it is
Drunk
what it,
parents,
hey,
they
it is what
drop
it is.
you.
You know, and but it does kind of explain his behavior, right? You know, just general dumbassery. You
Yes.
know, unfounded claims. He's better than me at Mario 64. Okay, bro, whatever.
So are you a speedrunner to your core? That's what I remember being told that was an origin of yours.
Yes. I am known for speedrunning.
Okay.
I speed ran.
Scurrying.
Okay. Later. Yeah, I was
Just the
top
two
30
of us.
Mario Odyssey in 2017 when it first came out.
Okay.
Yoshi's Island, I'm like really good at. Mario Maker, I'm a Mario Maker content powerhouse, generally speaking. Yeah, I'm quite proficient.
Mario Maker content powerhouse.
Mhm.
That is a LinkedIn title. You gotta wield that, dude.
It's not that I couldn't make more Mario Maker content. It's that I got really burnt out on
Wait,
it.
so why speedrunning though? Like, what is it about? Because like for me, I'm kind of antithetical to that. Like, I am like, what is like? Give me into like the minutia of this game. I want to learn about every little crevice of it and like read the dumb book on the shelf. And I want to create a character and I want to role play in it. I like RPGs though. I don't play a lot of like platformers or anything that could be speedrun.
You're asking for some like deep introspective stuff here. Why speedrunning? Well, if I had to like deconstruct it, I would say speedrunning gives me the most expression because I'm able to. The games that I'm usually most profound to want to speedrun are ones where like the way to solve the problem of going fast or being optimal is not obvious. There's like multiple answers, and you can kind of just choose how you want to express yourself in that regard.
So you enjoyed the process of like breaking the speed run rather than speed running itself, because
Yeah.
speed running to me is like solving a Rubik's cube in 2023. It's like you look up a guide and you plug in the requested variables and that's it, right? I don't like. I understand it on a mechanical level, being meditative and interesting, but breaking the speed run and like learning where the skips are, that does seem cool.
Yeah, I can say it's generally broadly three phases. It would be experimentation and then routing, linking together all your experiments you figured out here, how to get out of bounds or how to go fast or whatever else may be here. And then finally, phase 3, the thing that people are most keen to observe is the execution, just actually getting the run, right? Getting it all in one take. And I find that to be the most boring part. That's what gets the views the most of, honestly, is the grind. But that's not the part that I'm the most fulfilled
way less
in.
cool, yeah. No,
Yeah,
finding
the
out
routing
how you
and the
fuck
glitch
game
hunting
up.
and the experimentation and discovery. Those are the fun things.
So I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike competitively, and like the most fun thing for me was like learning new lineups and executes. If you've ever played CS, it's like, how can I find this like perfect pixel placement to get this weird bounce where I can set this smoke from this site and fake this execute? Like, that shit was fun. How do I get into like a server and like figure out how to essentially like push the limits of the game? Outside of that, like, actually playing the game was still fun, but like that was the joy of it. It was like, how do I learn how to do this, and like find new things to give to the game that aren't already there. You know what I mean? That shit's dope.
But sometimes here's a problem with that. The problem is that like experimenting that leads to actual growth and new accumulation of information is not automatically like viewer intuitive content.
No, not at all.
So sometimes you're at war with like what gets you more like personal growth and fulfillment versus what gets you views.
I feel that every day. I mean, like,
Yeah,
honestly, that's a great question
Okay,
for you, dude, because like I came into streaming so late that like I had kind of come into like an almost like, it's almost like, what's the right word? It feels like kind of like a wasteland of riches in a way, where everyone had already kind of done their thing and like established themselves, and there's like very clear delineated metas that aren't necessarily like the most personally fulfilling for me. Like when I look back on things, maybe it's rose tinted goggles, right? Where
No,
like,
I'm gonna co-sign you on this one.
Yeah.
I actually agree. I think that once upon a time content on Twitch was ambition driven. I'm gonna be ranked number 1 all regions of League of Legends. I'm gonna be the GOAT of Hearthstone, etc., etc. And now, like, what's compelling content or optimized content seems to be like reverse engineering, like whatever is being searched on Reddit or whatever the
Dude, well,
aggregator
honestly,
is now.
man, I think Ludwig is a savant. I think he's a brilliant content creator. I think that his concept of how do I squeeze a YouTube video out of every stream is the fucking death of live streaming to me. Because now everything is purposed towards a very, like, rigid YouTube style concept, when I think the actual boon of live streaming is a very freeform, improvisational kind of hangout environment, you know? To fucking force a YouTube video out of yourself daily on stream is insane. However, to go and be willing to, I guess, like have these like improvisational dumb collaborations and hangouts, like that stuff's fun for me. I like that more.
I completely agree with you. I think that the beauty of live streaming is that it doesn't have to cater to an algorithmic sandbox like it does on YouTube. But that obviously the YouTube sandbox confines you so many ways that eventually you have to rewrite how your dopamine functions to keep doing it for years at a time.
Yeah,
And I think his is affected.
How long
Now
have you
that's a
been doing
bad thing.
How long have you been doing it?
Very long. Since streaming,
Yeah.
February 2011. Before Twitch existed, yeah.
Fucked up
Speed
long,
running since 2004. Like I'm like super OG. Like your boy was recording speed runs at 15 years old on my grandma's VCR,
Oh, shot.
and then paying to have those VCR tapes converted to MP4 video before YouTube existed.
That's fucking
Remember, YouTube didn't exist till 05, but it didn't get popular until 06. So I have like recordings of my first speed runs prior to that.
Dude, you're very like for the love of the game about this. Like that's
Yeah,
cool.
no, I was speed running before it had any revenue, notoriety, etc. And then in 2011, streaming became viable, and it was then that I got into streaming. Actually,
How does it feel to have witnessed the like wholesale fucking commodification of your hobby? Like the way that it's like essentially the meteoric kind of commodification of it at that. Like it took off so quickly.
you know what? That's a good question. And admittedly, I'm not a consumer. I have to admit here,
I'm not either.
I stream, so like all I do is like I mostly cook my meals. I meal prep, so I don't want to fall
Days.
to the facade of what was like competitive streaming now, which is like, once you're in demand, right?
Yeah.
You supply the demand of the content, and you're just gonna do it as many times as possible. So you're gonna do like your 10 to 12 hours daily, and that means that all time hacks are welcomed, which means just Uber Eats twice a day.
Yeah.
So you're just eating like shit, and you're just sitting there being non-active, very sedentary
Like so
lifestyle.
shit.
And I don't want to fall into that. I feel like that's like I can do that, but it's like me like living to work rather than working to live type thing.
No, it doesn't.
So I'm much happier waking up, going to the gym for 2 hours, and then coming back here, eating my healthy gains, and then coming live for 8 hours.
Yeah, I could never do that shit.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what's funny? I think that's consistent among speedrunners. Because, Simply, right? I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, of course.
Simply is, like, really balanced. And, like, he goes on runs and, like, does, like, martial arts and shit. It's like he has, like... Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know what his diet's like exactly. But, like, there seems to be a sort of, like, almost, like... I think that there is a discipline intrinsic to speedrunning, right? It's like you have to have this sort of... I have to tend to all elements of my being to maximize my performance and my capacity to like get into this flow state and feel good when I play. That seems to
You're
be
so
super...
observant. Yeah, you actually usually have to convince people to see that perspective, but you're already there.
No, I think it's an athletic kind of
People
endeavor.
fixate on the execution. Okay, I have to get like first try dire docs 100 coins on 70 star 120 star whatever, right? They're fixated on the technical components of the grind, but in reality that's not the hardest part. That you can repetition will breed familiarity will breed confidence. Eventually you'll be able to get it done.
Yeah.
The hard part is the mental psyche, because you can't prepare for when you're on world record pace.
Yeah.
When you have nailed
dude,
every trick
I bet
before,
your hands go numb.
and you're on like Bowser 3, and you're like 3 throws away from getting world record, like you cannot prepare for that. That is a condition you must just literally experience until you eventually have the composure to like feel confident and execute on the task at hand.
No, I legit...
So therefore, yeah, your mental. So so if you agree that's the situation at hand here, then in reality, you need to work on like having a balanced diet, having good circadian rhythm. You need all the things that give you
Yes.
confidence and a sense of like purpose to be able to, in that moment, be at peace. Be at peace with, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't.
I think that is 90% of performance is that sort of psychological preparation and preparedness. Like you being ready to take on those kind of like stakes and especially because I think that a lot of people who tend to be high performers tend to be either one, bullishly confident, or two, deeply neurotic and disciplined. Like you have kind of these two, like there's this kind of giftedness and confidence that allows you to take on audacious challenges and do it with ease. And then you have people who maybe, meet a lot of obstacles through their ambition, but are very disciplined in how they find ways through those obstacles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm the
totally.
latter. I'm very obsessive about performance and like, input, like what I eat, how it affects me. Like I log shit. An absolute detriment, but I'm way into that shit, man.
Rad.
I've just never done any. I don't think I could do speed running. I wouldn't enjoy it as much.
Well, you don't. It's okay. Keep in mind here that speedrunning in itself is already arbitrary, and you don't have to. You don't have to exclude yourself with like a negative language rhetoric by saying like, I can't do speedrunning.
Yeah.
You can do challenge runs. You can do challenge runs. You can do score attacks. You can do self-imposed challenges. You can say, fuck it, I'm gonna do Elden Ring, and I'm gonna kill as many bosses as possible. There's like for example, there's 170 bosses in all of Elden Ring, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is including mini bosses, sub bosses, and the actual like cinematic game bosses, right? You can just say, hey, fuck it, I'm gonna do a 12-hour stream. My goal is to beat as many as possible. Today, 12 hours, I got 70 bosses killed. Tomorrow, I do it again, I get 100 bosses killed. To me, that's the same itch of a speedrunning ambition. You're just choosing to tackle whatever intrigues you and gives you purpose and fulfillment. For some, it's going as fast as possible and optimizing all things that give you more and more time save. But whatever gets you to flow state, fuck it, you do you.
Yeah, I think that flow state is the closest thing you get to nirvana. I think that's legitimately, that is the orgasm of life, is to just sit there and to never, no, it's legitimately,
Yeah,
you're
it
getting
is.
throated from the back to the base. Like that is the best feeling you will ever get. In that all of my life is essentially directed around how do I arrive at flow state like that, because that's I think that if there is a purpose, it is whatever brings you to that. As fucked up as it may be, I think that whatever that thing is, that is what you should be doing. If you find that is reliable flow state, that is now granted, games kind of fuck you because there's a lot of fucking awesome games that are built around essentially manipulating your neurochemistry to get you into flow state. You know what I mean?
Now, if we can on this topic, this is why I find most mobile gaming to not even be games, because I'm just like, all the conditions, all the variables, and all the dynamics are catered to exploiting your dopamine.
No, I don't even
Don't make it too fun, and make all the fun parts that would make it fun paywalled.
It's power scaling. It's like
Yeah,
it's power fantasy. It's all it is. It's like how do you feel, or like really it's edging. It's like you're gonna get this power upgrade in 24 hours. Or you could have it now because you want to feel it now, I bet, don't you? I don't even take mobile game sponsors because I think that I've yet to see one that I'm like, this is a good game I can stand behind. Obviously, no shame to anyone who's like, I need money and don't pay.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But like, if
I
you
get
have the
it.
flexibility, it's like most of them just suck. I'm like, no one's gonna get better for that,
And if we're allowed to here, I hate to be egregious and bring
You
up some
can
name
literally
drops.
flop your cock.
Okay,
here, I
well,
don't
look,
care.
Diablo Immortal was just like the one that like really broke my back on that, because I'm just like, okay, it's a game that has like 5 different like pseudo currencies just to
What?
mask.
I didn't even check that out.
Oh, bro.
5.
So ask chat, fact check me here. How many pseudo currencies does Diablo Immortal have?
Yeah,
I forget. It's more than 3. I want to say it's 5.
dude, it's gotta
They
be.
bury so much dog shit behind. It's terrible. It's terrible.
I would never. Like, I don't
yeah.
even think my chat 4 to 5.
Literally 4 to 5.
right,
Yeah, it's egregious. It's like it's so blatantly like this is what gaming can devolve to at the peak of unethical
Well,
conditions.
but it's once you arrive at this kind of, here's the problem is that like when you corporatize anything and it starts to value profit over user experience or even ethics aside, like let's just say like the value of the product is defined by profitability alone. It's how you get dog shit medical like the entire U.S. medical system as it is presently designed is an inefficient, bloated,
Bureaucracy-ridden.
gratuitously expensive system that is designed solely to extract money from people. It's like,
Correct.
if that is our value system, we are fucking every major discipline of living. Because what's most profitable and what's most desirable are different, right? Because you can have a very desirable product that if you buy it once, you don't need to keep buying it. It's like, it's how you get planned obsolescence. It's how you get fucked up controllers and dog shit phones that die every 2 years. Because at the end of the day, what's most profitable and what's best are very different, and that's
Very true.
that's why you can't have these fucking like monisms in life where you're like, fuck it, man, this makes me money. Same thing with streaming, dude. Like, I think that more streamers have to think about it too. It's like, you can't just go, this brings the most people. Go beyond! There are a lot of things that do that. Do you have a lot of do it, Yo, Nikki! Thank you for the raid, dude.
Yeah, before I forget here about that, a fact I think I sticks out of my head here. So, EA.
Yeah.
EA fiscal 2018 shareholder briefing indicated for the first time ever that a company had generated more revenue from microtransactions. Well, sorry, a AAA publisher, I should say here.
Yeah.
More revenue from microtransactions than actual retail sales of the games. They had officially, it was at that point they crossed the spectrum to where 55% of their net profit came from microtransactions on Madden and FIFA, and it outnumbered total retail sales of the actual games being sold.
And dude, I buy that. And here's my thing, man. If you're cool with like hunkering into like you get these cool cosmetic options and things, like, I'm okay with microtransactions existing, but they should not gate efficacy, viability, or like any kind of gameplay parameter behind another paywall. Like, I bought the game, man. I want to have fun with or just price it accordingly. If games need to be more expensive to have everything,
so
be
you
completed,
say that.
go for it.
All right, I'm gonna push you on an experiment.
Go.
Okay. So right now, Starfield, right?
Yes.
Starfield has an early access program.
I'm
you
playing
can
it.
get the game. Okay, but it's $100, right? Mm-hmm. So we have.
I would never do that if I wasn't a content creator.
Right. So here's a question, but not everyone's doing that though. There's a quarter million Steam users active right now on Starfield. Game isn't released until September 6th on regular. So you have everyone's paying the Todd Howard $100 price point, early tax. I know there's let's just call it like maybe 30,000 are content creators. The remaining 210,000 are actual real humans who are actually paying $100 for 1 week early access.
Of course, it's unethical.
What are we? Not even that. No, not even that. I agree it's unethical, but what are we, the gaming populace, saying and voting with our wallets here that we're willing to just drop 100 on what should be 60 or 70 for arbitrary 1 week early access?
Oh, sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, man.
Is this going to be a learned behavior now where we just bend over and throw 100?
No, it's absolutely what's happened.
Man.
You gave us the option to. Look, it's the same thing with like so much of life is just arbitrarily paywalled on some level. There are things that don't cost much to manufacture that are going to be paywalled because they, elevate the brand value of something. It's like, there's a lot of like, we set this price, are you going to pay it, right? They're giving you this kind of faux feature of you get to play it sooner. It gives you this sense of exclusivity. It gives you this sense of immediacy that I think people crave. And they milk another $40 out of you. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what you get out of it. I think the premium edition was meant to have other components added to it, correct? So it's kind of like a secondary thing, but no one's buying it for like, the dumb outfit you get, And so it's gated behind something that what we do when we start to get to like the voting with our wallets thing, it's like there is something to be said for it, but like, what are we doing if we don't at the same, like, they're not breaking their backs to do something like that. No, we'd have to not buy the game altogether, if we wanted to actually make that a problem, because otherwise it's a feature that costs them nothing to offer, right? There's no actual manpower being put into it. It's fucking dumb, right? So like, at the end of the day, you'd have to not purchase Starfield as a whole in order to say this practice is bullshit and this is why we're not doing it. You know what I mean?
Well, there's also, so there's that, right? And then there's like what I'm getting at here too is that, okay, like, so like, it's working. I don't know if it's like the Bethesda marketing machine or whatever, but it's working very well. I mean, a fuckload of people have bought at $100 price point just for the early access. Okay. Yeah. Who are not content creators. Then you have, comparatively, Anthem from EA, which had this, like, you remember, I don't know if you saw that, had that crazy ass, like, overcomplicated release strategy where it was like early access, digital deluxe, early access. It had like 4 different release dates depending on which tier you bought, and the more you pointed up, the earlier you got it and whatnot. In some cases, you got it like up to like 2 weeks early or whatever. And that fell apart. Everyone thought that was like too complicated, too convoluted, too arbitrary, and too beholden to like EA's bullshit like proprietary launcher on PC. And it was just like people were too off put by it here. But then I feel the same practice is happening. I don't know. It's just weird to say. 'Cause I don't know how to put it here. It's like, why did Bethesda's Starfield strategy work, but Anthem's didn't?
I feel as if I mean, how desirable of IP is Anthem's to begin with? I mean, like, does it have the same height? Like, it's like
no,
Bethesda,
you're right. It's another live service that no one gave a shit about because I think we're at that point now. Like, who's eager to get into another live service at this time?
No, it's
right?
silly.
Like, but it's crazy.
I understand the Bethesda allure because I think that also intrinsic to Bethesda is this idea that a game is incomplete at launch, and so maybe this idea of it being early by a week is like, okay, you're going to get maybe a scuff version and there's going to be a patch beforehand. I feel like people also, for me, for instance, I'll be honest, I didn't even know that the game was going to be... I did not track this game. I bought it a day before the early access because I was like, oh, maybe I'll play it on stream and see if it's fun. That was it.
No, and I get that. As content creators, like, we're just looking for
content.
Like, frankly, I barely even blip on.
I hadn't even thought about the reality that there was like this chasm between the actual release date and when I was getting the game. Like, I was just like, oh fuck it, yeah, I gotta play it early, and I like bought it overnight. But like, if that is a legitimate strategy being deployed, I mean, like, it's funny because like I think we have to assess to what extent are games not profitable to the extent that they need to be, which obviously I don't think that there is any metric really supporting that. It seems to be like the most successful game studios are raking in money on what they're presently doing, right? Whether or not they're doing so because they're gating everything behind microtransactions is another thing. Like, is that the only way to have a viable games publishing company at this point? I do not know.
We know a little bit about that. So the unfortunate answer is, okay, so let's extrapolate the scenario, right?
Yeah.
So if you're an indie developer and you make the perfect game, you make Chrono Trigger 2, like you make Chrono Trigger, you make the unpinnable like Taj Mahal of games, right? Congratulations, you made a game. But like every day on Steam, there's like 130 releases, like daily, and without any marketing, the fuck are you gonna do? Like no one knows about your game existing because it has to stand in the crowd of it's just so saturated now. So it's like in reality, making a good game is like at most half the battle. Marketing penetration is how you have to get to raise awareness, especially if you don't have legacy or like, I don't know, like a big publisher footprint on your behalf.
Well, I mean, the same could be said for pretty much any creative discipline at this point, right? It's like like creative disciplines are saturated with ambition at a certain point. There are a lot of people who are drawn to it. I think we create a lot of cultural imperatives around, creative expression, in that being like the ultimate good, in that you must be this sort of, a bohemian tastemaker who's putting out interesting, cultural content and shit. Like you have to be famous, you have to be individuated, you have to market yourself, have a brand, etc. I mean, like that's become a social imperative at a certain point too, and so everyone's like, I gotta quit my job and I gotta go do this thing and make this thing and take on this labor of self-actualization through an art that I don't even know if I care about. Like, I don't know, it's all fucked up, I guess. In my head, I think it's fucked up because I think everyone's endeavoring to like package themselves into like, 3 adjectives and a bio and be like, this is me, you know what I mean? And I think it's a lot to deal with as like a kid, but like, even as an adult, it's like, fucking, we look down on a lot of labor, but neither here nor there. The point is that these it's all about how do you separate yourself, and like you either like manipulate algorithms, and that's why you get all this fucking outrage content we have and like doom scrolling, because that's what people won't turn away from. They'll keep fucking.
No, it's the algorithmic box or the algorithmic sandbox. Yeah, it's terrible.
Well,
which is why I enjoy live streaming way more than I do.
It's cool.
So here's the thing about it, right? Live streaming, I'm in the real world in the moment. Making YouTube content is like 5% what I want to do, 95% me and Premiere Pro cleaning up.
I studied film, which no one should do, by the way. But it's an interesting kind of what I learned through that, especially in comparison to this, was that I found it to be way more fulfilling to act on stage in plays or in improv than I ever did anything in film, because film is kind of like this long form contrived process of like piecing together something that is going to be purchased, you know what I mean? And so you have to consider like consumer desire in a way that kind of obfuscates the craft. Like the whole thing about, to me, like what film kind of sucks about is that at the core of it all, if people don't want to buy it, it's a bad movie, because it is such an expensive inefficient kind of endeavor to begin with, right? Like there's so
Fair.
many resources that are front loaded that if you don't have money, you're not going to fucking make it, right? It has to get a return on investment. But like theater's just like whatever the fuck you want to do. You know what I mean? You can fucking be
Yeah,
like
half it's also it's an experience, right?
yeah, exactly. And like being there live and interfacing with an audience and experiencing them in real time, it's like a chat. It's way more fun. You know what I mean? It's real. And tangible, and you affect people, and that feels sick. Live streaming is, to me, the closest thing I've ever gotten to like what I think is a legitimate like existential nourishment of like you get people around and you talk about things and they vibe with it, and like it's community, in the absence of community in a way.
Yeah, I'm a Twitcher at heart. I didn't take YouTube seriously until like 2019. But I also caught on really quickly that I didn't enjoy it as much.
Well, it's so contrived, dude. You could be like, yo, what up? We're doing this, and like fucking, I don't know, who is that?
Your self-worth is measured by your watch retention, and then that quickly confines you to like, well, what retains attention?
Well, dude, the same can be said for streaming too, man. I mean, like as someone who's coming to streaming late, there's a lot of dysphoria to be felt in this environment in particular, because like you're just selling yourself every day. You know what I mean? Where it's like, fucking, what do you like me enough to stay here?
I guess, okay, I don't disagree
10%
with you there,
more people liked me today. Why?
But I feel like on Twitch, I only have like 2 metrics telling me that about my missed opportunities for like not confiding to the meta or to the sandbox. Whereas on YouTube, it's like all your studio background thing just is telling you suck. Your watch retention's bad. This is your 6th worst performing video this week. Your click through rate is bad. Your all that, like everything is getting hit. Whereas on Twitch, it's like, okay, what's your sub count? What's your view count? And that's really all you get really fed.
What's your favorite thing you've done on Twitch? You've been on Twitch for so long. What's the thing that when you look back on it, you're like, that was the best it's ever been to me?
Damn. My favorite thing? Oh, that's you're asking me to like just impulsively now try to find
just fucking list shit you've liked. Fucking, you don't have to tell me your
Man,
favorite.
I gotta shoot a blank like right now on you. Okay,
like when do you think it was at its best for you, just experientially? Not like when do you think it was like, oh
well,
shit, this felt good.
If I have to give you a subconscious frame one, it is being the opening act for Summer Games Done Quick 2015. That was a really big fucking deal. I knew that Yoshi Island had potential. I knew that I was a great speedrunner. I knew I had compelling commentary, and I could do an immersive experience, right? And I did. And they had confidence in me, the organization, the Games Done Quick organization, and they made me the opening number. I'm the one setting the tempo. Everyone's gonna watch me, and if I don't pull in, they'll know that either I flopped or I failed. And I came through and I killed it. I wore so get this right. So July 2015, that month was when the global emote The Illuminati came out. So I ordered an Illuminati shirt, but it was a slice of a pizza. So it was a pizza slice with the Illuminati face on it. And I had that, I wore a tank top, right? But on top of that, I had a button-up Dragon Ball Z, like all polyester, like late 90s cheesy swag t-shirt. It had like Goku and Vegeta and Trunks on it. It was like this.
That's sick as fuck.
Yeah, so I wore this like dank ass button up polyester shirt, and then when I got to the hardest part of the game, I was like, all right, yo, time to get serious. I unbuttoned the shirt to reveal like the Illuminati pizza slice dank tank t-shirt or dank tank tank top, and then chat was just like spamming the global emote. I farmed a global emote, I think, before it was meta to do so.
That's cool.
Because it debuted. So like in front of like 90,000 viewers. I don't know. The chat was ripped, like super ripped. And so, I killed it.
The emote farms is such an interesting like call and response kind of meta in Twitch. It's like it's. I think that it's going to be subject to like legitimate academic curiosity in the future, because like it's like a hieroglyphic system that creates a sense of. Now it's become more fragmented, right? Where like there was a time where emotes were, and I've talked to streamers about this, and you probably know it better than anyone, is that like you had such a limited vocabulary to play with, right? Because you only had global emotes. But now everything is so sundered and fragmented, and you have like this channel, 7TV emotes.
7TV
and, like,
this, and yeah, everyone has 1,000 emote slots now. Yeah, it's very, very fragmented.
How do you feel about that?
Because the emote meta is moving so fast that like I can't pretend that I would feel entitled to like it arbitrarily being bound. That'd be like me being mad about 7TV expanding the emote meta beyond any kind of paywall that effectively dilutes the value of sub emotes. That would be like me being mad about like emojis getting updates every year. Like, what the fuck? I was committed to eggplant and peach being a dick and a fat ass.
Yeah.
And now I'm mad because there's like 5 other ways to convey penises now. And
You made the eggplant look way smaller.
Yeah, like
now
language
I'm not,
is fluid. It modernizes, and I don't feel entitled to, just because I'm the beneficiary of like TriHeart's clout. Sure. I don't feel entitled to like arbitrarily moving my goalpost here and saying that no, TriHeart needs to remain the legacy emo that everyone likes.
Dude, are you okay with me asking some like how
deep shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you
this
feel
is a fun
about?
Yeah, I'm enjoying this actually. This is crazy how improv is right now. It's like,
I like
this is litty. Yeah.
How do you feel about your emote being like appropriated for like racist edgelords to communicate a racist?
This is a great question. Okay, so the emote TriHeart happened November 2012, and this is back when Twitch had 18 global emotes total.
Yeah.
And they were eager to like get it to 20, and they just like were open to suggestions on the official Twitch forum, which had a pinned thread for global emote suggestions, right? So me happening is kind of crazy because I didn't fight for it. It organically happened because my community at the time was like, yo, no, his face is fucking hilarious. You gotta get him on here, for real. So whatever, that happens. I never thought that I was gonna be like having to defend modern language and like all the shit that's like political, but I'm black, so my existence is intrinsically political, right? Sure. So it's like I had to get rehearsed on that ultimately. What happened was,
which like also like what a like a tragic sentence in a vacuum. What you just said,
I know,
it's
right?
fascinating.
Oh my god!
But like you put it really well. It's like it's a very quick, poignant way of summarizing what I think a lot of people don't get. But anyways, continue.
Oh man. So there was an administrator on Twitch way back when. His name is Bwana, Bwana. He's still active now, but doesn't work at Twitch anymore here. He's a heavyset black guy, and he was the original Brain Slug. He was a Futurama fan, so he put himself as like the like Hypnotoad getting him or whatever. Yeah. He was just like whatever, and it was called Brain Slug. But everyone hijacked that and they would call it Big Nig, no space, and because he was a heavyset black guy, they just did that, and he hated it, so he had his face removed. So it was then that all the racist, abusive, shit posting, whatever stuff was then fed into me because I was now the new face of a minority. I was the only black face on Twitch.
You were like the black emote.
Yeah. And it never happened around me because I didn't endorse that. I didn't fuel it. I didn't edge it on. So it was never happening in my circles of like speed running. Remember, I was very isolated in the beginning here. I didn't become like a more broad Twitch streamer until like 2015, honestly. So in the beginning, I was very only in my speed running bubble with my speed running mutuals. So I didn't know how the emote was happening. So as things like Overwatch 1 came out, or or as like Hearthstone blew up, it was being used there. But I didn't know anything about it. People didn't even know that it was me as a face until I blew up with Mario Maker 1 in 2015. Well, it was at that point that I then was getting called out because now that I was like a bigger streamer at this point. I was getting like thousands of viewers and whatnot. And it's like, hey, yo, your face is racist, bro. What the fuck, man? You gonna delete your face? And I'm like,
that's so bizarre. I wouldn't expect them to take it in that direction.
A lot of people did. A lot of black content creators did because they were getting hit hard. If you're a black content creator, my face was like constant animosity because it was just a dog whistle for like N-word this or whatever the fuck else that. And it's nothing that I did. The emote itself is not racist. The emote itself is a picture of me doing an unapologetic smile with like notable dimples and everything else here. There's nothing exaggerated. There's no historical racial tropes involved in the face. It's just a genuinely
It's
happy,
just your face.
It's just my face.
It's
yeah,
just
exactly.
Dude.
And I was just like, well, what do we like? If I delete the face, if I were to request to remove TriHard,
and then just take away representation altogether.
Yeah, you're stagnating representation. It's the problem stems from a lack of underrepresentation in minorities,
especially in the internet. Especially the internet as a subculture at that time. It was essentially just a cesspool of disgruntled suburban white people who had access to these tools at the level they had access to them. It's like it's such a niche at that time.
You put it there. The problem is, when you accept my framing so easily and nonchalantly, many did not. I had to like sell that a lot harder. That like you're aware that you're enabling a destructive narrative that's going to further hinder representation.
Well, I have the benefit of like 8 years after the fact too. It's like maybe people are like, "Fuck it, man, just close up the wound," and like
Bro. They also, it's crazy. They had a lot of like loaded arguments too. They were just like, "Well, you endorsed it." I'm like, "How do I endorse this?" Like, you want me to police?
Yeah.
There are 9.3 million broadcasters active each month on Twitch. of which that means there's probably like 70 million
Yeah.
active visitors per month. I don't know. I forget the Alexia internet rankings or whatever here. Like, you think that I have any capacity to police and control how people use my global emote or my face or whatever? You think I even know? I'm not even in these areas where it happens. Like, you think that I police and I conduct this army of anonymous people to just like shut up your chats? Are you crazy right now? Like, what are you?
Yeah, I don't know. Make me the ambassador for
Like,
hate
think
here. I
think
like
for
that, yeah.
5 seconds about what you're accusing me of here. This is crazy.
No, it makes no sense. One, but two, what I think is so captivating about it is like the lack of consent you kind of have to how your likeness is utilized. You know?
Okay, I will admit they're okay. So this is like kind of a cool thing, right? So, and I think this is not confidential, but I'm gonna tell you because it's like a Lydia ass conversation. In 2015, Twitch kind of sent me a letter that's even very legal and very formal that if I didn't like agree to give them license and rights to use the TriHex face, it would get removed as a global emote because they didn't technically have the legal right to like utilize it as like a component of merchandise on the website with its branding and whatnot. And so I had kind of like a pretty abrupt time. I'd say probably like 6 days maybe to like sign it and return it to them, or else they were going to remove the emote. And there were some emotes that were removed at this time because they didn't agree to it.
And that's like a pretty prestigious thing to wield. I mean, like to be enshrined in Twitch culture so, you know, prominently. I mean, you don't want to like give that up if it's something you love and care about, you know?
Yeah, I didn't think it was worthwhile.
Bless you, by the way.
Oh, thank you, man. I was like, okay, well, I don't know. And the thing is, okay, so I have 6 days to like ponder over. Okay, they'll have lifetime rights to license to use TryHard. What does that even mean? Like, what is that? What will TryHard mean to me in like 2030, 2040? Yeah. You know, that happened over 10 years ago. The meta on it still being written. TryHard is still probably one of the most banned emotes on Twitch at this point. Let's be real here. Like, and I'm not against that. If it's your channel, do how you want. I don't take it personal at all if the emote's banned because, like, quite frankly, maybe your moderation is not up to the task to constantly deal with all these dog whistles and whatnot. I get that. I don't take that personal at all here. I don't take TryHard as like my dying legacy of like, oh, I'm personally offended if it's like if it's shunned from existence in society and whatnot. But no, but like, should it be globally banned? In my opinion, no, because it's helping fight the fight on representation.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And that is important, I would say. Not just for me. That's for Hot Pocket, for women. That's for I don't know. Really though, that's for Mingli. That's for Anil. You know. Yeah. Notice here, it's always minorities and women that are constantly the ones that are dealing with the brunt of this narrative. It's not Ninja Grumpy or I don't know any other, like, quite frankly, to be blunt, cis white guy who's like getting like brigaded by this whole thing here. It's obviously it's fueled for representation and a lack of initiative on diversity.
Well, I think that the process of normalization through representation is like intrinsically clumsy and kind of brutal, in that like oftentimes I think we take a lot of issues with the means, but I think the end is kind of significant, right? Like we can look at the ways in which I, as like a kid growing up in the mid 2000s when hip hop became popular culture, it's like the normalization of like just like black faces, black voices, black people in my life as a kid. That was significant, even when you consider maybe the unintended side effects of that being kids who are like singing along to songs and like, that they probably don't have any business singing along to, or the ways in which they're commodifying or appropriating aesthetics that they can't connect with. It's like, at the end of the day, I think that still goes, if you're able to normalize the presence of something, even in the event that you internalize some harmful ideas about it, it's a step towards acceptance and understanding. And I think that it's an interesting line to toe, in that, like, in the same way that I feel similarly to, like, dudes who get kind of, what's the word for it? Like, homosexual. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean, right? Like, dudes who are, like, like, they, like, how that could be interpreted.
When you say homosexual, I interpret that as, like, men who are more comfortable emotionally confessing to other guys and they are their own.
So I see it as almost borderline gay baiting. You know what I mean? Where like that was like a big thing in like humor amongst my friend group when I was a kid. And you still see it kind of being prominent here today, but I think that it actually, when I look at my friends, none of them harbor homophobic sentiments, and all of them are very comfortable conveying their, like, I guess like Kinsey scale attraction to men, like being like, oh yeah, this dude's hot. I mean, I don't have sex with him, but he's hot. And I think that it's like this weird thing where it's this really clumsy, maybe even problematic route towards normalization and in turn like a sort of appreciation of something, which is like I don't have hateful homophobic friends, and I think some of that has to do with the fact that when we were young, it was like we saw that you could call men attractive and you could, confess the depths of your emotional experience to people without it being perceived as a negative quality or sentiment. Do you know what I mean? And so there's this interesting like I guess like trajectory towards normalization in, hegemonic populaces that seems shitty or exploitative, that for like youth who are only seeing it as like something that's now normalized, maybe it is productive. And I'm interested what your take is on that, right? Because like you have an emote, right, that I think was appropriated by white culture in a way that was pretty problematic, and especially problematic to black creators, right? Like if they were being used or brigaded with it, you know what I mean? But your face is now being normalized and enshrined in internet culture, something that's been historically in predominantly white. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's this net benefit to like you're a black creator, you're a part of the broader culture of Twitch, and that's staying that way. How people choose to use a word, how people choose to use, two syllables, right? TriHex, right? That's their prerogative, but you're there regardless, right? I think that there's something to be said for that, in that like it's not necessarily, it wasn't clean, but it also wasn't like, let's say, trying to remove all semblance of representation in pursuit of a perfect implementation of representation. Do you know what I mean? It's knowing that there's going to be growing pains because people have to interface with something and learn to accept it into themselves in a way,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how do I concisely.
I gave you a lot of thoughts.
Elaborate on all of that. Let's try to compartmentalize that. So like I guess like step one is like are we trying to entertain here and ask here what is my perspective on try hard in the long term?
More so,
or like the fluidity of how it's changed from 20.
The fluidity of how it's changed, I think, is the most interesting perspective of that, because it shows, I think, what I think both you and I agree on when it comes to longevity of something, right? And that like if you can endure the process of normalizing an uncomfortable or otherwise, let's say like dissonant.
So
yeah,
I'll get raw for you, right? So here we go. Okay, I do believe in that language is fluid, kind of like a sense of fashion can be fluid, and that what things meant 10 years ago, like F slur, for example, like the homophobic F slur, that what that was probably meant as. Well, I mean, okay, it's kind of.
Dude, we could just use gay alone. I grew up thinking gay was bad. I knew I didn't want to be gay because anything I didn't like or my friends didn't like was gay. I didn't even know. I didn't even like the process of. I was like, I just don't want to fuck men because I'm not turned on by it, and I like that was But like I knew that like intrinsically I shouldn't be gay because of the fact that it is so vilified. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So like how we use language can affect our relationship to something, of course, but it's also fluid, right? It's like gay at some point.
Sometimes it can be learned behavior. It can be a learned bigotry situation when it comes to like homophobia or transphobia, whatever it may be here. And simultaneously, it can be a hijacking to like almost romanticize and empower yourself. Like again, if a self-identifying gay person uses the oh, quit being such an F slur with with those shoes, honey. Like put something else better on, whatever, right? Like it can be self-deprecating humor in a way. And I think, let me get a little language here, but like when we look at, for example, like nigga with an A, I've seen that be used a lot for like a term of endearment among black people, or even for non-black people who go through the black experience. Like if you grew up poor, or if you grew up like.
This is an awesome caveat what you're including there.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really significant.
Yeah, if you deal with like just like a lack of opportunity, socioeconomic factors, you're in a low property tax threshold that like, leads to like shitty rundown schools with under budgets and like underpaid non-motivated teachers that lead to just like a stagnation.
Nice
on,
red
like,
line schools.
Yeah, you know where it all falls apart because no one believes in you because like look where you are and look how you are and look what you do.
Yeah,
and it just leads to like that's definitively. I'm colloquially pointing at the black experience, but yeah, it's.
I say often that I think that America has a phobia of poverty, and I think that based on our relationship with the intersection of race in poverty in the United States, considering a populace of people were literally like deprived of economic opportunity and used in service of a hegemonic group's economic prosperity, it's like of course that's going to lead to an enduring prejudice, even when you in your head may be like, I don't see color, you know? It's like, no, but you see cultural signifiers that tell you you can't trust something, and it's based on your contempt of poverty. You know, I think at the core of it all, that's all interconnected, 100%.
Oh, yeah. When they say they don't see racism, like,
Oh, they're
this
fucking
country
dingus.
is so ingrained in racism. I don't even know even where to begin with.
Yeah,
that.
those are the people who love purple people, and you know, they're like, I don't care.
You want an
what
example? I'll give you the best example here. Whenever, and this is not like anything to knock at like white folks here. This is just like, you know, the thing that you're gonna hear, right? I don't like Obama because he's a black president. Obviously, I have critiques of DNC Democrats that are here, but I'm not here to get political and all that. But I don't like Obama.
We can do it.
I don't like Obama because, you know, black president, whatever. I don't trust him. It's like, oh well, he's only half black. You know, he's half white. You know, you look at his mother; it's very, very half white. So it's, you know, he's black passing, which is the important part you're looking at here. Which goes back here to the fixation on the optics of how one
America
looks.
is such a dysphoric.
So yeah, we are.
relationship.
It's a very racist country.
When you look at this too, when you think about its dysphoric kind of like it's truly, I would call it like blatantly fucked relationship to blackness in particular. You have to consider that the man's middle name was Hussein, and the bigger scandal was that he was a black man. This is the height of Islamophobia after being at war with and propagandized around a contempt of a man named Saddam Hussein. And this was that man's middle name, and they still ran with. I mean, you know, fucking,
no.
Like that's got to tell you that like even when that's like a common enemy that everyone rallied around the flag for, people are still like, can we do this? I don't know. It's bizarre.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
But you were saying about this in particular.
Yeah. So if you've gone through the black experience, you probably, you know, you've had black friends, and you've seen that word thrown around a bunch with an A particularly here at each other as a term of endearment. You know, you a silly nigga, you my niggas, where my niggas at right now?
Yeah.
And like
I can only do that in private. You know.
Right. No, I'm just like, you know, it's important to like demonstrate the usage here, because like I don't think it's meant as anything racial. It's just like, again, it's what it meant like in the 80s and what it means now are two very different things here. With the proliferation of like of hip hop, rap music.
Dude, the big thing too is that at the end of the day, what you're describing isn't a fucking bad thing. What you're communicating with the word isn't a bad thing. You're making it a bad thing. You know?
Yeah.
You aren't agreeing with it. So why the fuck shouldn't I be able to use the word? I am that. Fuck you. I am that. Why is it vilified? It's the same thing. Like, why are you holding my identity over my head like it's a curse? You know, I am that, and I can use that word. What you're saying isn't bad, and that's why I'm using it. You know what I mean?
And that's why I think it's important to distinguish between, like, you know, hard R versus, like, I guess N with an A comparatively. Because, like, yeah, there are two very different things, and one of them is a common term of endearment, self-deprecating humor. It has all the traits of actually like modern fluidity of language. And I guess I can also go into like
I would say the difference between calling someone someone calling someone like mommy or like daddy or something in like a sexual context, and someone calling them mother or father in a sexual context. You know, one has been colloquialized and made like kind of kink friendly and normal. The other is Mike Pence weird shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like that there's a difference, right? It's like to act, even if it's communicating the same thing, it's like when you say mother or father, now fucking we gotta unpack shit. This is now weirder.
Is Mike Pence your thought for weird? I'd argue Matt Walsh is way more disturbing than Pence.
Oh well, I just know Mike Pence called his wife mother.
Wait, what?
Yeah, some chatter shit on this.
Okay, yeah, I could have went.
No,
okay.
Matt Walsh is in his own fucking.
Yeah, I'm
like,
sorry.
When it comes to like real grifters, like people who rely solely on outrage, I try to just never. It's like, what can I even?
It's bait.
What can I even say about it? Like the dude went on Rogan and was like, millions of teens are
going through. Like,
and even Joe Rogan was like,
hormone
Jamie, what the fuck is? Are we sure about that?
Millions, really?
It's like a lot,
all right, bro.
Like I don't fucking like. Don't get me wrong. I have trans friends. I know trans people.
Well, grifters. So of course, if you're a grifter, right, you have to believe your own lies. You have to like get into the narcissist like.
Oh yeah.
You know,
that's why I don't care if anyone's like he's playing a character. Like, dude, I have friends who did that shit. Like, I know, you know, I mean, like, I know, you know, even communities on Twitch that grift, you know, like I've been tangent to them. I've made content with them, and it's like, I don't care what you believe at your core. I care about what you express. And if all of your time spent expressing is lying to the point of entertainment, you are platforming and supporting it. I don't care what you think about it.
I agree.
It's the same way, like, dude, you can, if you were the most hateful, villainous, shitty person, but you never do a hateful, villainous, shitty thing, I don't care. I cannot tell what's in your heart.
I can't be a thought police.
I can't tell what's in your heart. I can't tell what you feel or think. I care about what you say. And when what you occupy your airspace with is just fucking vitriol, you influence people in that direction. Name a single person who's grifted their way to effective satire on the internet. I will show you an empty fucking list. It's vacant. Every person who is grifted, they just build an audience of people who adore them. And everyone who is seeking attention on the internet on some level wants that. They want to be told they're great, and they want to be told they're right, and then they lose themselves to it, and I think it happens a lot, dude. I think it happens a lot. I just care, yeah, what do you say? It's not even actions speak louder. What do you say? Like, how are you influencing the world? You know, unless it's like really, really effective satire, you know, you have to be clear that it's satire, you know what I mean?
True.
And like, you're just being your fucking self here. But like, yeah, when it comes to like shit like TriHex and how it's used, you have no say in how it's used, and it shouldn't be something that you hide because you are TriHex. Mm-hmm. You are, you're like, you cannot. What does that say about the state of being black in the event that you censor it on a global level?
Also, don't forget here that I'm perceived as at one point here I was perceived as the authority on the voice of black people. Like,
really?
Oh yeah.
I don't know the lore on that there.
Okay, so I'll give you another lore dump there. So. Remember when PUBG was the king of games? Like, it was like blowing up in 2016, right?
Yeah, on Steam.
Before Fortnite was dropping, PUBG was
before
like,
H1Z1, right? All that shit. Around the same time.
H1Z1 was out, but Player Unknown Battlegrounds was like the hot shit because it was the infancy of the blow up of the battle royale genre. I would say.
Interesting.
Like before Warzone, Boomer clap in chat. Everyone here remembers PUBG, right? So what happens is if you won the battle royale in PUBG, you would say winner winner chicken dinner. Mm. So to celebrate PUBG's rise to like viewership dominance, they had I don't remember. I think KFC did a promotion with a temporary global emote that was a fried chicken bucket dinner. It was called Winner Winner, and it was a chicken dinner.
Nothing could go wrong.
And which not okay. We'll come back to that. Which one's informing you the context of that? Okay?
You should do a rotisserie chicken.
That wasn't the important thing. The important one was this promotion with KFC coincided with a promotion with Snickers. And, yeah, Snickers rhymes with whatever, you know. And then, so, I forget what the Snickers emote was called, but, yeah, these two debuted together side by side, and were both used in conjunction during the popular dominant directory of PUBG.
How optimistic,
and,
man.
And, yeah, so, like, someone in my chat asked me, what do I think of these emotes? I thought he was capping. I thought he was like, okay, wait. There's a fried chicken bucket global emote and a Snickers global emote at the same time on the same day, debuting now on the top directory of the site. And I was just like, damn, bro, man, POC's got it hard on this site right now. Is what I said. And that clip went viral. That clip went to LSF, and they took it, and I'm like,
sure
I didn't think it was little old me. I was playing like some Kirby game or whatever, right? Like I wasn't like hitting like fat views at the time or whatever, but like my take on shitting on that situation is what popped off, and I'm like, oh, am I like the voice of all? Because I wasn't intended to be that way. I was giving my honest reaction. It felt like there was like zero consultation from any minorities or blacks on.
It's gonna be an enormous stress as well on some level.
Man, yeah.
To like be like, well, I gotta I gotta do this right.
Well, spoiler, they removed it within like 2 days because it was. I mean, like not even close. It was like literally, winner, try hard. And then they would spell out N-word and use the Snickers emote as like one of the G's or whatever, and then try winner bucket.
Oh,
yeah, it was just like it was just racial fuel ammo spam everywhere, and it was ask chat. It was a shit show.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where like you have to consider what actual effective vehicle for changing behavior is, and it's like normally changing attitudes, and that's like a much more earnest, long form process that you can't be like, well, if we just don't give them anything to throw, it's like, I mean, they'll find things to do. I mean, you can ban it, you can create harsh policy around it, and I think those are all effective for creating safe spaces, right? Mm-hmm. It's why I think that anyone who cries like free speech, I mean, you're a fucking moron. It's like you can protect an environment that's private. Like you can go shout this outside. If people say, I don't want you around, that is the consequence of being a dick. There's no free
Yeah.
speech component
Everyone
here.
has their own moderation tools.
Yeah.
Make it as tight or as loose as you want
Yeah,
to.
it's
know?
fine. It's like you're
That's
not
your
being
prerogative.
censored if people are like, I don't want the fucking like we were talking about like trans identity earlier in the stream, and it was like, it's like, look, man, like these are our takes. This is what I want in my chat. I'm not trying to silence people who have opposing viewpoints, but I'm also not gonna like fucking entertain it at the expense of my trans viewers who are gonna feel like shit. You know what I mean? It's like if you can't accept people's identities, that's a tough go. Like I'm not gonna say I will do my best to give my piece on it, but I can't like let you be a dick in my chat. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like at the end of the day, it's like when it comes to changing attitudes, it's like that normally has to do with just like the normalization of people of color in new environments, and like the internet being largely a white dominated environment, because like, again, we have to consider the intersection of fucking, race and poverty in the United States in a long form capacity, internet and like general digital tech being pretty, expensive during its most formative stretch of time. It's like you're just going to have an overrepresentation of white suburban dudes shit posting on 4chan.
Disposable income, yeah, whoever
You know what I
did
mean?
that. Also, don't forget here while you're doing this point here to elaborate on like gender as well when it comes to women, because this is very much a men's space.
Oh, yeah.
Gaming altogether.
Dude,
'Cause
Gamergate was wild.
Well,
yeah.
video games are
Go
just
into
like
all that
gendered
shit.
for as a boy toy until like I don't know, like
Dude,
maybe
I took
the
a whole
mid-90s?
class on this in college. I was very lucky to have a sick professor who had a whole class on like it was called like gaming culture and criticism. This is what I wasted money on. This is why you shouldn't go into debt. I learned a lot. I'm very enriched by it. You should not take on debt to learn these things. They are cool though.
Right.
But the whole premise was like we would look at like OG branding initiatives and like how they would essentially try to like gender gameplay experiences with anything other than just like, like this is an environment that you're allowed to be in. They were like trying to do like Nintendogs ads with fucking like there was this one with Sarah Hyland. She was a girl on Modern Family, one of the older daughters.
Okay.
And the ad starts with her with a Nintendo DS, and the first line is, "I'm not a gamer." It's like, fuck.
Oh,
all right, yeah,
wow.
I see.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're just going right on the nose with it. It's like
Damn.
we know you fucking women don't know shit about shit, but maybe you want to play with a little dog. You can dress it up
man.
and brush it. It's just insane. And like I get it. I think that a lot of people
Unintentionally condescending so much
in every way.
Goddamn.
And I get it because I think that gaming and digital spaces are fundamentally escapist on some level. And I think that for people who maybe like have a maladaptive relationship to it, it's that in these environments, my voice is validated, my fears are kind of like reified and put at bay, right? Like I can talk with people who, I think it's a lot of what like inceldom is, right? It's like a lot of people came together after one formative wound that they could not let heal, and rather than go out into the world and kind of like field test the reality of your relationship to people and women in particular, you took your formative failure, you hid from that rejection, that fear of being told you're not enough, with other people who are doing the exact same thing on the same fundamentally negligible experience. Like you just don't have enough, you haven't accrued enough data to know that this is how the world is, but you're going to be around enough people who are saying, no, don't go out there, it's terrifying, trust me, you can't go in, you're gonna drown. It's like saying that everyone, because you fail to swim, everyone sinks. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you have to try it. It takes effort. You have to get back out there. It's hard. But when the world tells you, yeah, don't go out there, it's still going to be like this. Trust me, I'm 40. It never gets better. This happens, this happens, this happens. This is what women want. It's like, yeah, you never get into it, right? So it's like, it seduces you in, you feel understood, and it reifies your fears. It's saying you can't go back out there, it's dangerous, everyone's gonna, they're just a bunch of women there, they're trying to get into your wallet and ruin your fucking life and kill your dog, and you just shouldn't do it. Don't go. Play Starfield, buy it 1 week early, and spend $40 additional. And like, it sucks because like, it becomes an incubation chamber for a lot of really harmful fear-based ideals, of like,
Yes.
I don't want to be hurt again, and here I am safe, and I get to experience my fantasy of being this person, and why are you coming in here? You hurt me, you're not welcome here, So the intersection of gender is a huge thing, And then I think that a lot of the negative sentiments around race come from a bunch of really... And there is like a legitimate fragility to white people assuming that criticism of whiteness as a monolith is criticism of them as individuals, and it's not.
Yeah, they get caught on that really, really bad.
And like, it's the one
Which
thing I
is
try
why
to say all the time.
people were really mad about Barbie. The ones who saw, they were like, I don't know, I don't get it. It was kind of like, it felt like they were kind of shitting on men the whole time. It's like, well,
They're shitting on a really specific kind.
They're shitting on a society that was like very exclusionary and second class citizen towards women. That's being upheld right now, quite frankly.
Yes, dude, it's wild because
It's very on the nose. They make it very, very obvious.
yeah,
Like,
it's such blatant. Like, it's not even satirizing to the extent that it's showing you the ways in which men are kind of seduced by these really disingenuous narratives surrounded, really built for a few people to enrich themselves with guides. You know, it's like they want to be like, this is how you be a man. Buy this guide. You know, it's the ultimate grift. I'm going to teach you how to be the person that you need to be to not be wounded by the world that you're afraid of. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And so, like, this is how you make money. This is how you, seduce women, so on and so forth.
Which is why I found it funny. It's okay. This is a funny story. So I was walking my dog in my neighborhood, and one of the women was like watering her plants. I know her name is Miss Christina, right?
Mm.
And she's like, I don't know, probably like in her mid-50s, whatever. And she had just seen Barbie and had asked me had I seen Barbie because I was wearing like I don't know, some pink shirt or whatever I was wearing. And I admitted, yeah. She's like, yeah, I thought it was okay. I'm not really much of a feminist, but and I'm just like, okay, well, you're a woman, but you're self-admitted you're not a feminist. So like, all right. So I'm like,
We've made it a pejorative.
Does
like
your
vegan.
husband make you have to pre-code and tone down your advocacy for women's rights so that you don't come off as like cringe SJW? So that's my first thought. Second thought is like, what was I gonna say about that actually? That really caught me off guard. Oh, was that like when you do a deeper dive, like you can't be too much in the wrong spectrum here because like the more I learned, I'm like for example, I didn't know until like probably like 2020 the history of women and banking accounts. Women could not open a checking account
until like 1970 something, right? 1960 something.
1972.
Yeah.
It was like it's like
insane.
It's like it's not the 50s. It was like
very recent.
Damn, bro. It was after the civil rights movement. Are you
it's
serious?
why people are so fucking disgruntled about like women in the workforce, right? Like it's because this premise of women are no longer coerced into sleeping with me by survival imperatives alone has ruined the process of now that women can say I'd rather not have sex and just do my own thing and not be dependent on you and placating to you to not die is a novel concept to men, and so you have a bunch of people who are like, and now I have to work on myself and be likable.
Women have to figure out how to work around men's egos, and like I can't decline him outright because if I do, he might stalk me and kill me. I don't fucking know. I can't get in an Uber by myself. I can't go to my actual house where I go because the guy now knows where I stay. I have to find like a decoy block to walk to.
It's a lot.
It's like it's a men's world. It's a man's world, very much so.
And you're going to get people who push back on it, and they're going to talk about either divorce court and like difficult jobs being overrepresented by men. And it's like, dude, we have a labor issue. Fight for fair compensation for your labor. I agree that a lot of the jobs you do are underpaid and they're fucking brutal, and that is a fucking plutocratic fucking imperative. That is a bunch of people with money wanting to fucking use you as a labor battery until you expire, and that's it.
Okay.
Don't get mad.
I say wagey. I'm gonna use labor battery now. I'm gonna yoink that real quick.
Like, no, you are like you're a labor battery. It's all you do. And like you're mad at women for not working. Like, dude, there are like, dude, testosterone is an important thing in that it does like modify like Y chromosome expression, physical strength and shit. You're gonna be better suited for some jobs than women on a physical level. Just like statistically on the whole, that might be the case. Argue for fair pay. Don't get mad at women or act like the deck is like stacked against you. When like the reality is that like the majority of like
don't forget here that they the opposition of wanting to give like equitable pay to everyone.
Yeah.
They love bringing up like gender gap as like a attacking point. They want to bring up a culture thing to distract from the substance of what you're talking about right now.
Oh yeah, no.
Just remember that they love the culture war thing because it always distracts everyone from getting back to what were the actual.
And the gender gap thing is insane because like it's like it's actually working, encouraging women to work and like get educated and pursue degrees in male dominated inhospitable fields like STEM, which by the way women are still not going to do it because it's still weird and you still don't know boundaries and it's still mostly men, and that's still like doesn't matter how much you encourage it when they go to a fucking environment like, I mean, I don't know, not to like get too specific, but like there was like some recent stuff that came out about like Linus Tech Tips and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if Linus is personally responsible for any of that. I'm not going to act on it, but it sounds very par the course. A bunch of STEM bros with a girl in the office condescending her. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that she didn't have faults of her own, but like, it didn't sound like a welcoming environment. It seemed very like, fuck this. Of course you're incompetent. You can't do this. Nice ass, by the way, so on and so forth, And like that's like very par the course women's experiences in spaces that are, you know, built on this kind of like fiction of male mathematical competence being this like, you know, fucking superlative gender buff that they have. Like I'm a logical right brain man, and like, you know, you get a lot of that shit, man. I imagine it to be a fucking nightmare on the whole, but neither my brain bounced around a bunch. Neither here nor there. The thing that I take issue with in you know this concept of you know it's a man's world, right? Is that a lot of men and you see this too. This is actually what I think a relevant kind of tangent point, right? Is you know live stream fails. LSF went through this really long arc where they condemned all people who spoke critically of whiteness as this kind of like oppressive monolith as them being racist, right? Yeah, it was racist. So
this year, or...
yeah, it was super. It happened a lot around surrounding like Bruce communicating some like anti-white sentiments, and it's like anti-white sentiments are not like anti-white people sentiments, and you cannot criticize the perspective of an individual speaking from the experience of oppression from a very specific, you know, like cultural and economic, you know, hegemon being like whiteness, right? You aren't the problem as a white person in all likelihood, right? Take inventory of your own behavior. Are you doing the things that they're criticizing you for, right? Because being critical of like, you know, essentially the experience of power, right? And being essentially subjected to or oppressed by a more powerful kind of like, you know, entity in that regard, right? That's a totally different thing from being like, I don't like you because of your white skin. They're complaining about the reality of where power lies in a demographic capacity, right? You aren't the problem. Getting up in arms about people who complain about like white men. It's not that you as a white man are the problem, and like that's the hardest thing for people to learn. You aren't the problem. It's not your problem. You are not at fault for being a white man. You are a part of the problem if you participate in an uninhibited or totally, you know, like let's say like you know, subconscious capacity, right? If you are not taking inventory of like, you know, privilege and power as you wield it, which you do on a structural level, you are a part of that problem only then, right? Are you participating in the mechanism of oppression that keeps people who do not belong to your demographic out of, you know, essentially like professional validity or success, right? Like, it's so interesting because like you saw it so much with like people speaking down about like you know like this is white people stuff, you know. That's not. I even get it in here where I'll be like, fucking, what were we watching yesterday? Where I was like, this is like fucking peak whiteness. I forget what it was. It was like some Dave Matthews Band, like, you know, Rusted Roots, 1999 shit.
You know what, man? We were going through this in 2021 a little bit because I was like, okay, is Karen a slur? But then I was trying to like break down a consistent criteria for defining a Karen versus just like a snobby, entitled, delusional person. And it was a fun convo. I don't remember the substance of it now here, but I remember like having this like situation where like, okay, when I'm watching Karen breakdown videos, how do I effectively critique this? And is this a white culture thing? Because there's got to be some underlying thing here. Because it's like it's consistently suburban, middle-aged, upper middle class, or wealthier white women that are doing these tantrums like a 5-year-old, and not only that, they're unable to process shame. So they're often the ones recording what they think is a W, but it's obviously the fattest L this side of fucking, I don't know, the man.
That's really interesting because it seems like there's maybe a like some kind of cultural imperative in like the sort of like late boomer Gen X kind of demographic of like you as a quote unquote like strong woman, you know, who's like, you know, advocating for proper treatment and service kind of thing that seems to be there, that like it's almost kind of like a procedural obsession of like, I know how to do things and get things done and you're not going to get one over on me. I know it's like, it's kind of like the demographic of like kind of like you know, kind of, and not to say I take issue with this, but there's like a fucking niche of content of like fucking white dudes who are saying like, I know my rights to cops all the time, you know. And it's like, don't get me wrong, fuck yeah, I mean, don't comply.
Well, I have an idea. Like, I think all I can think of here is on a hunch that it's like I gotta blame consumerism in that like, what is American culture beyond consuming things? And if you're raised on like the highs of like 90s consumerism, and that's kind of like where your sun is setting on your cultural relevance now, if you're like you know, Gen X a little bit there, then like it aligns with the white women who are middle-aged, and it's like they were on top of the world, and they kind of remain on top of the world, and then you add in social media, giving them like their hive mind of their isolation of how they perceive values in the world, and it's like, no, in the 90s, I got what I wanted, and now you Zoomers, you Gen X's, all that want your he, him, they, them, it, whatever pronouns, and I don't know.
Yeah,
Everything's different, and I'm mad. I'm no longer the center of the universe.
I think that's absolutely. We were just talking about that because there's a clip of fucking Dr. Disrespect fucking throwing a tantrum about the fact that they included pronouns in your character builder in Star Citizen or Starfield, right?
Okay.
Where he's just like fucking like he like looks at it as if it's this like fucking like aberration.
To be fair, there. He likes to farm, but though I can't tell when he's like fucking around and when he's being serious. And
I have no.
I just can't. I can't. Dude, again, YouTube brain. We were talking about earlier. YouTube brain rot. I don't even know anymore what's real and what's authentic and what's not. I can't even tell anymore. He might just be farming.
The thing that I see, regardless of farm or otherwise, and like I don't know. I never really watched the dude's content. He could be an apex farmer in that regard. I have no clue. But what I did see was like it's consistent with this like. This isn't representative of the values I was raised on, and now I don't know what my compass is to navigate new waters because the tides are turning and the world seems to be against what I stand for, what I was taught was good, And for a lot of dudes who were raised with, like, fucking just, like, 80s machismo propaganda, fucking Sylvester Stallone running up steps, beating the fuck out of Soviet men, it's like that was what good was. That's what being a man was. And like now suddenly there's this whole avenue of expression that you were denied, and maybe there's a lamentation or like a mourning of all the parts of you that never made it out. I don't know. Like there's a layeredness to it where it's like, no, this doesn't make sense. This is what I was given, and this is what should be. And whenever systems change or people want to be recognized for something, I think that it's just. I also think there's a lot of fear mongering at a media level. But regardless, to not totally deviate from what you were saying. What you're saying about the Karen thing, I think, makes a lot of sense in regards to, like, why are you not respecting my dollar in the way that my dollar used to be respected? And I think we've become more class conscious, right? I've paid for this. Why can't I treat you how I want to treat you? Why aren't I getting the service I expect? And it's like, well, because again, like you have an issue on a service level when the issue is going to be on a structural level. It's about employment practices, what people are being paid to do, how they're being compensated, how they're being treated as laborers. It's like
I think also explains why it was overwhelmingly fast food that Karens were happening at.
Oh yeah, where's server going to be most? Where's service going to be most lackluster or apathetic?
Yeah,
right?
Well, yeah, because we didn't get the minimum wage increase and hazard pay wasn't promised for the essential workers, so they were disposable and they were essential to the economy. It's like, whoa, hang on, wait, if I'm disposable and essential, how does that work?
Yeah, no, it's nonsense, right?
It's
this whole
ludicrous.
idea of any labor being disposable to me is really silly too, in that like. We have essentially conceded to on some level that every position in your company, unless it's entirely vestigial and exists only to give people jobs, right, is required for you to make the money you make, right? And so we now, I always like to do this like thought practice. Like let's imagine some kind of like quasi-utopia, right? Not to get too far into hypothetics, right? But like in the event that, let's say, everyone were equally qualified and well-educated, right? We have this fucking,
stabilized education access.
Everyone's got a fucking
et cetera.
doctorate. They're all capable people. Someone has to be this cashier, right? In the event that we don't automate everything, someone still has to clean these fucking toilets. Someone still has to do all these jobs. So now you can't sit on this fucking throne, this ivory tower of like quasi-supremacist rhetoric of like, well, I have this skill and I went to this school and I did this, like, well, you had access to, and a life that essentially shepherded you in that direction. So neither here nor there. The point is that this job is essential to the functioning of this company. So why then are they not afforded a life of dignity through their labor?
Here's the problem, though. The problem, okay, you're making a great example to demonstrate the logical fallacy that those people are having about like low skill labor or like being disposable on their labor battery and all that. But would this convince them? Not me and you, but like would the normie be like, okay, you're utopia, yeah, you're spitting, bro. I get you, bro. I don't think they would. I worry that like we lose them when we go this far with it.
So my I guess like what I like to
like,
kind
more
of
like
ground
is it worth being correct?
I think that we could literally take the
saying?
hypothetical away from it, right? It's like you either have to concede that these jobs aren't necessary and should be automated, then we have to transition to this kind of like, okay, if we can free people of the burden of labor and subsidize their lives through some kind of UBI, which is a whole other can of worms, right? That's a different conversation. But right now, if this job is essential and you work in a full-time capacity, why is it that they're not afforded a life of dignity? What is it then that doesn't that through their full-time labor that allows this company to function, Why is it that they're able to be priced out of a life?
Do you want the answer?
Yeah.
So here's the problem. The problem is what you're bringing up is objectively and logically consistent and correct. I agree with it, obviously. The problem is it what value is it being correct if we are unable to make the mass populace perceive it as such?
So what would you see the counter argument being then? When the
The answer is really simple. They're gonna get heavily anecdotal and say, well, when I worked there, I didn't get paid shit when I was 17 working at McDonald's. So why the fuck should they get fucking 18 an hour? They're gonna view it as like, well, I suffered, so why aren't they suffering? Or that they make 22 an hour now, making their actual career happen, and they feel some kind of way about a McDonald's person approaching their wage.
Well,
it's all narcissistic and self. I know it's boring, but this is like that's what they're gonna do, and you have to like, how do I change your core values on like this thing here? These are the same people who are gonna have like a position deriving on like, well, fuck student debt loan forgiveness.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do I? It's not about the student debt loans. It's about their core subconscious values on just like proactive, preventative human suffering and just like stellar economic policy. I don't know, like. They're very reactionary. That's all I can say.
Well, yeah, no, it's all built, I think, on a sense of invalidity and people grappling with the fact that they're disposable in a system that's tried to convince them otherwise, right? That they're valuable and that corporate is gonna, give you your birthday party and you're gonna get your cake and you're gonna get
meritocracy is real.
Yeah, it's like it's suddenly this sense
just
of like
bootstrap harder and you'll make it.
Because half of it has just been convincing people that they're a part of this plutocracy that they're not a part of, right? It's like like I make good money and I am able to get a nice Mercedes on lease and I get a couple $100,000 a year, and it's like, dude, you are shit. You are shit under someone else's shoe, and you don't know it. All right, like you are. But they want it feeds to this narrative of importance of you have to individuate yourself through your professional accomplishments and your wealth, And the reality is that there are very few, if not absolutely zero, viable pathways to legitimate power, wealth, and influence, but you've been told that you have to wield it, right? So we live in this world that's essentially made imperative that we become the exception to the rule without, reckoning with this reality that like we cannot all be exceptional by definition. You know what I mean? It's like we just cannot.
We can't?
I know, right?
Yeah,
it's insane. So it's like we're fucking handheld to this absurd. We are constantly fixed in this like you have to be the top 0.01% of people that have value to the world, which is just asinine, right? It's like no one can be that.
Wait, everyone can't be Steve Jobs?
And it's a fucking crime. I don't buy it. Well, I think anyone maybe could be Steve Jobs with the right setup there.
Yeah, I mean that. Reality distortion fields a mini. Holy shit, right? Just
make shit.
Yeah.
You're gonna make it. I don't know, man. I got a whole. There are too many gripes to have with it. Where did we even like stem from? Because we were talking about some kind of fucking.
Well, so I brought up like diagnosing Karens and not making it a critique on white people entirely because we were talking about that, and but before that we were talking about try hard and fluidity of language.
Yeah, no,
those were two like broad topics that we were on.
I think it was connecting that because the reality of I think like the inability to field structural criticism without interpreting it as personal criticism is the biggest issue we have. I think like
wait. Okay, I agree with this. But it's not just that. There's just two parts to this.
Yeah.
I think what's slowing down and stagnating the capability to even diagnose what the problem is in American culture broadly is one, what you just admitted, the inability to differentiate between individualistic critiques versus like a more broad, whatever you called it, critiques. But also two, that it is intrinsically an American problem here, and I blame it on American exceptionalism. That like the notion that new information can change your initial stance on something is seen as a weakness. This is such. I don't know. It's called a principle, right? But whatever. Like, it's such a fucking bad problem.
No,
you're not a hypocrite, nor are you stupid if you change your stance on something when given new information.
I used to stand really far on this side of like in opposition to the concept of trans women competing in women's sports. And then I read, I actually like dug through like statistical, like I tried to break down essentially, like I used Leah Thomas as like a case study, right? And I tried to compare Leah Thomas's performances when competing as male and Leah Thomas's performances when competing as female, and then essentially distinguishing what's the disparity between world record pace for a man, world record pace for a woman, right? And it was like she was on average performing worse than the best male was than the best female was was performing in comparison to the best male, right? So she was like, we can expect a comparable gap in performance between men and women just assessing times alone, right? So like from her pre to post transition, her transitioning process was effective enough at lowering her athletic efficacy to where it would replicate the difference you'd expect between a man and a woman competing at like equal levels.
Right. It wasn't an advantage. It was hindering her.
Yes, and so like it did. She was doing worse than she would have, than just like standard, let's say like statistical deviation between a top male performer and a top female performer would by percentage base, right? The only difference would have been in more, let's say, short distance sprints where she was a bit faster than you would expect. Which again makes a bit of sense when you consider concentration of type 2B muscle fibers in men as in comparison to women. Just statistically, that's something that hormones can't augment. But the real thing that fixed me in regards to my perspective had nothing to do with the competitive viability of any of it. It was that, why are we prioritizing competitive viability over the integration and essentially dignification of trans identity? You know what I mean?
No, this is exactly what I went through. I got called like a cuck soy boy for saying that. I was like, well, Chad, it's just like, it's simply put here that you're choosing, as long as like trans youth is at risk of being integrated in society, they're being ostracized at every front, from I guess like culture war talking points for Republicans who's looking for something new to fixate on rather than substance of economic advocacy.
Yeah.
We're just facilitating the assistance of like excluding them from society and proliferating their suicide rates.
100%.
So like you just have like, it's, I hate to make sports political here, but it's just like, this is exactly what happens. They get further ostracized from society. They have no outlet or sense of belongingness here. It's just going to make them make suicide seem all the more appealing.
And moreover, like, we have never at any point considered like physical parity to be a virtue in athletics. If anything, quite the opposite. We marvel at genetic superlatives. We want to see people who totally defy reason. And so when we're already hand selecting, like, we have to consider how fucking cosmically rare it is for someone to be trans.
Yeah, this is all genetic
with,
lottery
right?
nonsense anyway. It's here.
Yeah. If someone's already like trans to begin with, right? It's like, that's such a cosmically insignificant, like a cosmically like coincidental thing to occur for someone to be trans. It's very rare, right? That is already an extreme deviation from normal. It's like, that's just like, to me, I would rather just consider this to be essentially another woman who's gifted in that capacity, and even that they're even fucking good. A lot of trans women aren't good at sports. They're just not, because they're not athletic. They weren't athletic at any point. Like, it's such a rare thing that you see.
Beyond that, I have another anchor to cement further on this whole trans women and women's sports culture war shit, is the fact that, did you hear about the Chad, was she Ugandan or Nigerian? I forget exactly, but there was some foreign woman who was like a track runner for the Olympics.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
And she was, and her testosterone levels were naturally elevated past that of what's considered a tolerable, normal cis woman, and they excluded her. She is not trans. She's just a genetic abnormality of an abnormally high amount of testosterone. And they tested her for drugs. There was nothing there.
Which is
and they just they're like, no, you cannot compete because you have too much test.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, which is insane. Because
and it's like she's biologically female, naturally just high test. And because they couldn't make sense of this abnormality, it didn't abide by their arbitrary boundings of what is competitive women's sports. They took this competitive woman and said, no, you can't play.
No, and it makes it's insane.
What's her name, Chad? Someone help me. Someone Google here. Yeah, it's great. It's I am summarizing it, but it's practically that. It's just that simple. They're like, yeah, your test is too high. I don't know, whatever. You can't play.
Which is like, is that the sole metric we're going to be using for like essentially like competitive viability? It happens with men too. There are men who exist outside of the standard range or the standard expected range of like serum testosterone presence, like that happens. Like the entire
Castor Semenya. Yeah, there you go.
The whole premise of fucking competition is to marvel at the genetic outliers. That's why people, like, unless you were to, what do you want everyone who's like, do you want to like tier things by every person on the basketball court is the same height, the same weight, they run the same 40 time, they have the same bench press, now it's just who's the most skilled? I mean, like, that's never been the
to make it fair. The average height is 5'7" globally, so you got to be 5'7". Sorry.
Yep, sorry. That
Sorry,
sucks,
bro.
man. Sucks. You got to
No
be that.
advantages. Sorry.
It's just, I don't know. At the end of the
Shaq,
day,
you can't play with us. I'm sorry. Yao Ming, sorry, you got to go too.
no one has ever cared. None of the people who are advocating for the removal of trans women from women's sports have ever cared this much about women's sports in their fucking lives. It's the most absurd stun lock.
Oh, it sounds like it's a culture war talking point
is.
to pivot away from.
But that's also the problem. Is like even when I proliferate, it's like the only reason I feel the need to even touch on it is that it makes it such that trans people are targeted in this culture war between two warring parties that want to get us to talk about anything other than the fact that 6 people own the world and hate you. It's like it's like none of it has to do with of course they've made the fucking 1% of the American populace the fucking turning point for an entire election, right? It's like, because we're not going to talk about any of the actual structural issues that would lead to there being legitimate change, right? Because when we realize we're all being fucked. We're all being fucked by the same people that we continue to put in office. We're all being fucked by Citizens United and the integration of the corporate lobby and the reality that an individual can fucking fund a politician's campaign and essentially own them for the remainder of their tenure. It's like, that's the fucking issue.
It's true. Yeah. There was some hope with the John Lewis Voting Act to get ranked choice voting, which would unfuck.
Would be so cool.
Because I get that money out of politics and getting rid of Citizens United is going to be a huge, probably never happen in our lifetime, honestly.
Yeah.
Because there's just too much money to be made with the corruption and all that. It's already too
Oh,
systemically rotten.
I'm actually pretty politically apathetic at this point. I talk about it, but I don't have hope.
Same thing. I make peace with it is what it is, and if I hate how American bureaucracy works, I mean, just get the fuck out of here and move somewhere else then.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? I have to I can't sit here and am I gonna waste 8 hours of my day every day critiquing American politics whenever it's ever
I
change?
look at Hassan and I mourn him. I mourn him. I don't know how he does that.
I think it's not healthy, honestly.
No, it's like it just welcomes the worst fucking people. Maybe the worst chatters of all time to come in there and just be like, here's this disingenuous point I'm gonna poke at you about.
And it is that. It's when you can see it's bad faith, loaded rhetoric here,
stupid.
Are you cringe leftists here right now just mad about everything? It's like, that's such a loaded statement. I can't even engage this right now. You're if I reply at all, I'm endorsing here that I legitimize your framing that I'm a cringe leftist. Whatever the fuck that even means.
Yeah.
What
do you think about debate culture? On the internet?
I hate it.
Okay, I'm on the
debate
same
culture is very online. Debate culture. If debate culture was honest and it was trying to find a point of enlightenment and find the correct answer towards our solutions of things,
sure.
If debating was meant to vet information and claims to determine what is the correct answer on the problem we're all trying to solve, I would love it. But it's not that. Debating online, especially in online content creation spaces, it's tribalism. It's performative. It's the art of persuasion.
Yeah, my creator's smarter than your creator because he said the points I agree with, and I'm never going to listen to the points your creator's saying. My creator owned your creator because they said these things, and now that means I'm smarter because I like him more than I like yours.
Also, all participants who debated are okay with being again here because it's an unsolvable thing, right? Yeah. We just continue to farm each other for content forever and just keep it going here. I entered a couple of 2021 was the last time I actually did a debate, and it was like a 6-panel of 3 vaxxers versus 3 pro-vaxxers versus 3 anti-vaxxers, and I figured the anti-vaxxers had some new talking points since 2020. The answer was no. They just kind of doubled down on everything, and 2 of them were flat earthers as well. And it was pretty.
Dr. Mike Malone is fucking.
Oh man, dude, they had so many gish gallops and whataboutisms. I'm just like, what the fuck are we on right now, dude? This is. Yeah, it was. And here's the real problem. The problem was they didn't even Not only did they have they didn't think they had lost. They even went as far as revealed now they were actually further than they were in 2020 towards conspiratorial non-fact nonsense here. They're just listen, bro. You want to believe what you want to believe here, but asymptomatic spread of COVID, that shit ain't real. I can't see it, bro. The fuck are you on, bro?
It's one of those things where it's dude,
how do I do? I don't know how to even. Do you believe dirt is real? Do you believe microscopic dirt is a thing?
No,
bacteria
this is
myth
the
to you?
thing is when the entire premise of your argument starts to rely on the rejection of all prevailing, let's say prevailing consensus in academia and beyond because academia is intrinsically an arm of the state designed to manipulate and control. It's like, well, then we're just fucking guessing?
Yeah, how do we know what we know, bro?
We're just going on the fucking Blogspot article your uncle sent you about long COVIDs, being indicative of the brain melting and you're pooping it out. Like, what the fuck am I doing now? Like, we can't talk about anything when everything's built on, like, this agreement that all scientists are fucking conspiring at G7 or whatever to fucking tell you that the world is
Look, bro,
round.
all I'm saying is, look, I ain't taking the Fauci ouchie. And if you want to keep being if you want to keep being a shape, well, then you can go ahead and do you, bro.
It's like, okay, well, fucking dude, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that sucks. I just couldn't imagine living in that bubble, and that's why I hate because I always wondered, dude, is there any value to like going on these fucking like obvious grift bait podcasts and debating? Because people used to want me to do that, and I was like, I'm not doing it. Like, I can't. Like, I'm not gonna.
It does get you views. I mean, if revenue is a lucrative perk, then it will get you views, and you will get people who want to debate you more and more often. But it's gonna at the cost of your sanity. No, I stopped it because I was like, this is like,
oh, I couldn't do it, dude.
It didn't feel fulfilling. I stream for purpose of fulfillment, which is why I do speedrunning, and I feel like with debating, it was like, okay, I'm passionate about finding the right. I think I have the right answer. Yeah. Please vet me. What are your counterpoints here? Let's cross-examine. Let's A/B test here. Let's look at some statistical stuff here, anomalies, patterns, etc. here, before and after causations and all that here. It's overwhelmingly just like cherry picked, like Reddit algorithmic.
Oh, it's stupid.
Talking points that you have to like. I have to diagnose the framing of your question rather than what you're asking, because what you're asking is not even legitimate. Like it's always that, and it's like, oh my, it's the same fucking shit over and over and over again, bro.
It actually has drained my life force. I used to do that with John Zerka. Yes. Okay, so John was like the first person I ever made any content with. It was
boy.
Because I was his opposition. I was this dude who had like the optical credibility of John, because I was like, a tall dude with a beard that everyone was like, okay, this guy's fucking, a Giga Chad, whatever, right? And so like, I would be brought on as this like oppositional like this, opposing perspective to, John's essential like long form grift of like, whatever the fuck's now just become this fucking.
I actually lost track of what the last beef that I had with Zerka on.
It was whatever he decided he wanted to do there. It was I liked John as a person a lot, because I had this weird thing where I'd be like, okay, he was fun to like talk with off stream, and he seemed like a nice guy. And then I was like, no, you cannot possibly play a character like this every day on stream and not feel it. You just can't. It's impossible, right? And so, like, that's where I would, like, go on his dumb panels when I had, like, 10 viewers, and I would just be like, well, John, this is why the Earth's not flat. And then he'd be like, no, but the Earth's flat. And then he'd pivot to, like, pedophilia.
Five other things.
It was just so weird. And, like, and I just was like, this is going nowhere. I get hate watchers. That's it. It's like, I appreciate it, but now I just have hate watchers. That's the only thing I get, Yeah. There's just no, even as a community, it's like you don't gain what I think you'd want, which is like, oh, people saw my perspective and they liked it, because most of the people are there to just kind of be like, this guy, right? And have fun with it, and that's that.
You see, even if it's not hate watch, right? It can be. I'll give you a more nuanced example. I had a guy who was a frequent in my community, and it was like clockwork. It was whatever particular topic he was most infatuated with on Daily Wire. He would just bring it in. He's like, yeah, what's your take on this? Or isn't this bullshit here about this whole thing here? And I'm just like, bro. And I go Daily Wire, scroll down. It's like the sixth topic from the newest one, and I'm just like, oh man, the framing is disingenuous. Thing is all stupid here. It's like, and it's just like, I can sit here and debate him all day on these things, because it's like, it was so easy to take down and whatnot. It's like, the framing of the whole thing is stupid. But it's like, dog, when are you gonna realize here that Daily Wire is just feeding you algorithmic?
Just rage bait
garbage,
that's it.
Dude.
That's all they're
doing.
doing.
When do you stop? Like, that's what, because every day you come here with like one dumb thing from that site, and then I have to like I debunk it, and then you're like, all right,
Yeah.
Because it's
It
not
takes
talking
like 2 additional clicks where you're like, okay, so cited from this study, what happened in this study, funded by the Vatican, okay, got it. You know what I mean? Because that's what, like, I had someone come in here and be like, what do you think about this thing where, like, Jordan Peterson has, found that fucking, marriage or, like, households with a gay parent have lower graduation rates, and I was like, I went in, it was like this fucking study funded by the Vatican where they didn't normalize for fucking, families that had 2 parents in the home, like, let's say, like a gay couple that adopted.
Yeah, no one looks at the criteria for studies.
It was just like, it was essentially, do people whose family is, like, sundered by a parent coming out when they're 16, do they graduate at the same rate as people who had 2, parents who were married in the home? No, they don't. No one would. No fucking, divorce is fucking traumatic for 16-year-olds. Go figure. Their whole world changed.
Yeah.
It's just all, I don't know, man. When there's too much dumb bait there, and, like, do you have any, like, red pillish takes? Do you have anything that, like, you think is, like, something you wouldn't own that you hide more?
Let me think here. That's a good question.
People always ask me that. It's like, what's the thing you have that's like
what's your most controversial take?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, damn, that's such a crazy question to ask. Like, I don't filter and code my takes as, like, content fetching headlines, I guess here, but like one I will say, as an advocate of fitness, this is probably like soft now, but it's like, I thought it was like a little bit more like divisive back in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
People who are fat, overweight in America, people make it an individualistic issue, but I think it's more of a systemic one. So I don't blame anyone who's like overweight, fat, or like out of shape, or even like this new school problem now where we have like people who under 30 getting type 2 diabetes just from having a poor diet since they were 20. So like I look at that and I'm like, no, this is a health endemic that needs to be like treated ASAP.
Yeah.
And people that we now have a situation where you have these small towns that are propped up by a Walmart. Walmart came in, wiped out their local economy with all the mom and pop shops. It's only a Walmart anchored on a couple of like fast food joints with an adjacent plaza.
Yeah, it's food desert.
And it's food desert. Yeah, but this was like this was like divisive 5 years ago, but now it's like totally accepted here. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And that you can just live like in the middle of Nowheresville, North Alabama, and have only lived near a Walmart and like a Taco Bell and a McDonald's and a Dollar General.
Not even that, but like additionally beyond even just resources alone, food is deeply cultural, and our relationship to it is something that we inherit. We don't like independently think of food as fuel. Like I have a pretty fucked up, very removed, almost mathematical relationship to food because like I was kind of raised in a very like fitness focused way, you know what I mean? And so when I look at food, I like actually like think of like the amount of energy in that food because that's my fucked up dysphoria with it, But like on the whole, most people, like if you are raised in an environment where food is used as a coping mechanism on a cultural level, right? When your parents have a bad day or you have a bad day, you go get like fucking pizza and ice cream and shit, and that's what you then like standardize. Like, of course, over time, as life gets harder, you're going to rely on that more. It's like you're given these tools. I don't see why food is seen as something that's like above that, right? Like we are, and that does not mean that it's any more or less within your control. The point is that some people are better set up to have a healthy relationship with food, even beyond the fucking physiological, mechanisms of hunger. Like, you might just be a person who experiences, like, higher ghrelin levels or has, like, shittier insulin sensitivity and just stores fat in a different way, Like, this does happen.
Even then, even just diagnosing those things there, like, people don't know, like, your average Twitch content or Twitch chatter and your average, like, normie knows shit fuck about nutrition.
Yeah.
About, dietitians, about, like, food, nourishment, nutrition altogether. They don't know shit. They don't even know, like, I see it whenever I bring up fitness and they ask me, well, is cereal healthy?
Yeah.
Is a sandwich healthy?
Can be.
They have the assumption that, like, cheese and dairy and milk is, like, essential to the diet.
People think of, like, food as being on a binary, right? Of, like, this is a healthy food, this is an unhealthy food. And it's like, no, this is an unhealthy amount. This is a healthy amount. That is all it is. Like, it's all
amount. When you bring up, like, carbs versus protein versus good fats versus bad fats versus trans fats versus fiber, it's like they get so overwhelmed and just like, okay, well, I don't get it.
Yeah,
and it's like I'm like, okay, man, okay, well, and I see like the American, I guess, education system at play here. It's like it's not preparing anyone for the fucking real world at all.
Well, that's what, dude. This is what I fucking say when everyone like, okay, fucking looping this back in. We were having this fight because people were like, essentially saying like, don't I don't care if you're, doing the whole, like, I don't care if you're purple, whatever the fuck. I don't care if
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
trans.
that cliche.
Keep it
right,
out
yeah.
of my
They're
schools.
usually the most bigoted
Keep it
ones,
away from
obviously.
kids. Keep it out of my school. And but now you're making people essentially victims of their fucking spawn point. It's just true RNG. If you're
Bro.
born in an environment that's totally intolerant to that or obscuring relevant information for you, you are being. That's the whole point of civic fucking infrastructure. That's why we have shit like public education, is so that people aren't essentially the victims of where it is they're born.
Correct.
Right? That's why we need, like, nutrition classes, right? That's why kids who are 6 need to be told trans people exist, not told how to fuck other men and, like, how to suck a cock to completion. It's just like, by the way, you might be this exists. Doesn't mean you're this, but it exists, and it's okay to be that, so that they don't kill themselves when they're 16 because they don't understand why they feel the way they feel. It's the whole point. You know what I mean? It's the whole fucking point.
I mean, bro, here's the problem. When I bring up, like, that, like, black queer trans suicide rates are, like, the worst in the whole, like, subcategory of like all that there. Usually what happens in the South is this conversation goes to, like, rather than, like, pity them or whatever, it's like, oh, well, that's just God punishing them. And it's like, it goes to, like, this religious altruism thing. I'm just like,
what an easy life that is to just look at things and be like,
it's just that simple, huh? Just like,
God doesn't like
just
them.
God smites the gays and the trans, huh? That's what we're gonna go with here.
God created media hysteria around this to make them feel.
And I'm not
incredibly
anti-religious in this regard, but it's just like, God damn, that viewpoint is so blatantly bigoted.
No,
like,
it's fucking insane.
You're just okay with that being your conclusion. That's where you put the period and call it a sentence.
No, but I mean, fuck. I mean, that's got to feel good. Just wash your hands of it.
Yeah,
but like,
guess,
I
like,
couldn't
I mean,
imagine that.
That's holy shit, though. Like,
I mean, you're like going for the. I mean, that's like a grand slam of bigotry. Black, gay, or black, queer, genderqueer. I mean, like, the bases are loaded. That's maybe worst case for anyone who wants to feel understood in American culture as a whole. That's like, and then you wonder why it's like.
Yeah, because we're just now getting to where, back to hip hop for a second. We're just now getting to where hip hop is, like, less homophobic now. Like, now you got, like, Cardi B and Ice Spice who are, like, normalizing women empowerment,
and emerging hip hop's actually pretty fucking queer in a lot of ways. Like, it's very androgynous in the presentation of even, like, the dudes who are, like, you can look at guys like fucking, like, Lil Uzi Vert, even back in, like, 2016. It was like a very feminine, like, very androgynous presentation on a fashion level. I mean, like, like, singing became. Do you remember back when were you a fan of hip hop growing up at all?
Yeah.
Do you remember when, like, singing was kind of like you're a pussy if you sang on songs? You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. Like, singing wasn't, like, really romanticized until, like,
like,
Drake,
you're an
right?
R&B guy. Like, you're not a fucking rapper. You're an R&B guy. You're not hard. You're not thug. You're not cool, right? And then, like, Drake was, like, definitely the dude who broke that down. But now it's like, if you can't sing, your career's like, you're a feature artist now. If you can't put together hooks and do shit, like, that's a huge part of hip hop. Is like being able to, even on auto-tune alone, it's like to sing in your songs. It doesn't mean you have to be a good singer. Yeah, but you have to do hooks.
Yeah, like Future and all them. They have hooks now. Yeah, it's gotta be catchy.
Like, you have to do that shit. That's like a huge fucking deal in that particular like, genre now. And so, like, you see all these shifts. You see it happen with. Dude, it's just crazy how everything is so socialized, and people who just don't want to think about the ways they've been indoctrinated want to write everything off as being intrinsic or, like, Evo psych. You see it with beauty standards too, dude.
I think beauty standards are crazy.
It's insane. But also, like, dude, you look at, like, if you don't think that fucking beauty standards are fluid, and you think that Jordan Peterson is fucking dead on when he sits in his fucking, I don't know, like, disheveled room and types on his fucking phone, that, like, sorry, not hot, no amount of fucking whatever it is, authoritarian.
God, his Sports Illustrated
like,
cover woman. That was so cringe.
Go look at a fucking, like, go look at, like, the fucking proto-fertility idol from, like, fucking 20,000 BC. That woman is dummy thick. She is fucking... You can come back
a couple 100,000 or a couple tens of thousands of years here, because, like, the whole thing is that, like, literally, okay, I'll throw you two hot takes on that.
Yeah.
So take one is that the chubbier woman was considered peak attractive back in, like, Renaissance era, particularly because it was uncommon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like, to even get to that obesity, you had to be wealthy.
Be pale
you
for
had
that
to,
instance.
You had to be wealthy, because, like, the peasants, they had to work, they had to burn calories. So, like, even getting that full was like was already a class separation in the first place. And that rarity and that taboo made it like the exquisite back in the 16th century. You want to go further here? Okay, how racist is America? Okay, let's get into the real here.
Oh yeah.
As of now, due to the hyper reality of porn consumption, you have the colloquial terms like BBC and just like generally.
Dude, what a fucking prison, by the
Right.
way. I'm so glad. Like, of all the things I'm glad, like, of all the things I've been spared from being a white man, not being expected to have a monster cock has to be up there. That's like, for that to just precede you in all of your sexual experiences as a kid is fucking
wild.
insane.
But the point there is that like it was a more timid, mild penis was considered better and more attractive because, in the racial terms of it, a enlarged member was seen as more barbaric and you had no control over your own desire.
Insane.
Which is also rooted, of course, in some kind of like second-class slavery bullshit in America.
And it was the original.
But
doom
and only in the
posting,
inception
dude.
of porn, or I guess porn consumption in mass with the VHS tape succeeding in the late '80s, did this attitude change towards very recently, where like, okay, now the penis has to be like, you got blacked, BBC'd, whatever. Here.
Which is fucking, what a weird, like, the fucking way that's probed cuckold anxiety and, like, brought a new wave of I think, racial prejudice for young white suburban kids is insane. To see every black dude as this kind of, like, essential, like,
family breaking, cuck fueling,
fucking insane.
Interracial, color theory reinforcing.
Yeah,
it's got to be the
but
palest girl on the darkest dude.
In the way as well that it's like, it essentially it's creating a sort of intrinsic relationship between a woman who has been, let's say, like, essentially she's like, what's the word of it now, like sapped of sexual value because she has been like taken by something you can't replicate, you know what I mean? It's like, I think it's brought a whole new wave of like this sort of like purity imperative in men on a dating level as well. Like, I legitimately think that the prominence of cuckold pornography in the last 5 years is like fucking young kids up.
It is.
I think that this whole Andrew Tate rhetoric is a part of this.
Particularly here, because the conservative parents, I'm sorry, I'm going to call them out here. Conservative parents are under-delivering on having a sex conversation with their children, leads to the children seeking Dr. Google for answers on what's happening and what is, and because they have unregulated access to their phones because the parents are boomers and don't know how the fuck to do any of that the parental restrictions and all that, leads to then the children consuming porn and getting their values from the hyper reality of the porn.
And, well, dude, and it's quite literally working on the same neurological mechanisms of the dog shit Daily Mail post. It's pornographic doom posting. It's all it is. It's like you're going to be sexually transfixed by this level of pleasure that's entirely manufactured, entirely performed. Based on this fucking, essentially like a fucking Lord of the Rings tier Gandalf size manipulation of this one dude and this fucking 4'8" woman. You know what I mean? All hell-bent on making you feel as if you are forever at the mercy of who black men do or do not choose to have sex with, because apparently you can't compete. It's like, it's just out. It is literally commodifying fear in young dudes.
Now, to go in further on it, right? So the important point to get here was the fact that, like, you look at, like, the Statue of David, and you look at the penis size there. Remember, that was Michelangelo's.
One could even call that, like, kind of big, right? I mean...
Yeah, well, the point is that, it was Michelangelo's the ideal human aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
And you fast forward to now, it's like,
That was just Michelangelo's cock. That was him being like, I think this is maybe the best cock, right? I mean... Have you seen it? This is the best cock.
It's expressive cock for sure.
No, it's
the cock to the pubic ratio is
fantastic. He's like, this is. I think we all agree that this is. He just used his authority as like the only person who could replicate the human body to be like, this is the best penis. By the way, that was definitely his dick.
Definitely. Well, the important thing about that was to understand here that like the stigma of enlarged penis was already arbitrary, and then where we are now is just like I'd say a porn saturated, red pilled, toxic culture negligent point that's fucking over and making, I think, men and boys feel even more inadequate about themselves without any like actual intention to do so.
This is my only like borderline red pill belief, is that I do think porn is kind of fucking dudes up. Like, I do think
I agree. It's not being regulated in its use. It's an incapacity here, and it is the one thing that like no one wants to touch.
Yeah,
we're not, because it's a political taboo, but it's influencing so many things. Like, again, young boys, teenagers are getting their values derived from porn consumption because these hesitant parents are not consulting their children on.
Also, the
Anything.
reification of porn.
I mean, when you look at the fact that, like, look, what are the companies doing? They're promoting abstinence education, so they just don't even want to talk about it,
it's totally hands off.
or just like stigmatize sex with just like an STD boogeyman scare, as if they weren't fucking themselves when they were like 16 or whatever the fuck here.
I mean,
so
dude,
I don't know. It's just like not. It's delusional. It's spec insanity.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me, I think that there's a good litmus test, right? It's like, can you, like, do you have, one, like, as an adult, I mean, like, you probably don't have an issue with porn if you can, like, get off to your own thoughts without an issue, you know? Like, if you don't need porn, you don't need porn, try it out, whatever. Some people are going to become a bit, like, let's say, like, bound to certain stimuli. It's not an addiction, you've just conditioned it. But, like, kids are, like, especially with how reified porn has become, like, I remember porn being kind of tropey and dumb when I was young, you know? Like, even, like, really well-produced studio porn was very, like, you know, plumber or doing the doing the pipes.
It was much more analog, I would say, compared to now, where it's, like, very, very...
They're trying to, like, replicate, like, betrayal narratives and shit. Like,
yeah, it's
weird.
very sanitized now, yeah.
In, like, I don't know, it's, like, the actual experience of porn is becoming so blurred. And also, like, you don't have, like, unfettered access to, like, I don't know, man, like, the whole... Like, you can follow the Twitters, and, like, you could, like, learn so much about it that it feels as if everything you're experiencing is real. Do you know what I mean? In a way that, like...
I think people are trying to find answers, and they look through these simulations to understand, like, okay, well, in this scenario, what would I do? Type of thing. And, because this topic I found interesting, because, like, I feel like I'm like, chat, why is no one talking about this? Like, this is clearly what's fucking everybody up right now. And so Pornhub, for example, they do a Pornhub Wrapped. End of year, they reveal, they reveal their stats.
You have watched 9,228 hours of pornography this year.
Yes, indeed. And they reveal what each state is like searching, and there's two things to know of value from last year. Cause I love covering that topic because it's a really, really funny topic to look into. Because I think it's like it's the actuality of America that no one discusses.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Everyone stigmatizes porn or like pervertedness or sexuality, whatever you're on a public basis, because it's not publicly palatable, because we have this like awkward like Christian sanitized sexuality thing, right? Where like artificial hyper violence is like tolerated.
Yeah.
But even the base level of sexuality is completely stigmatized, right?
Yeah.
Really fucking stupid. Should be the other way around, but whatever here. But in the Pornhub Wrapped 2022, what they said were two things I thought of interest. One, trans porn, red states by far, not even close. Like oh my god, so obviously, so obviously it's closeted homosexuals who have a self-hate righteousness because of how they were raised in their religion, and they have to express their like, I guess like gender fluidity or questionability by like exerting all hatred to eradicate the desire. I can't be a gay man. I'm already married with kids. So I have to like hate the gays because they're making me feel like I'll have like regret in hindsight about right? Yeah, very transparent stuff, right? Or just trans curiosity. They're chasers, but it's like a power fantasy or whatever. So they love hating them. So they like hate FAP or something. I don't know. It's obviously
captivating.
Yeah, trans porn in red states by far, I mean, astronomically higher than blue states. Number two here. Cuck porn.
Yeah, huge.
Interracial cuck
especially
porn,
in the American South. Massive.
Went up 300% since COVID. Like, it's been going up slowly, but the COVID years when it blew the fuck up everyone's
it's like the more you remove people from like real world engagement and experience, the more I think they become transfixed by their fears of what that real world may possess. You know, it's like, how do I
can agree with that.
It's like, have you ever heard the essential breakdown of these two essential evolutionary errors, one being a type 1, one being a type 2? So
no,
a type 1 error, or I could be wrong on this, like I don't know which is type 1, which is type 2, right? But a type 1 error is in theory like an error of negligence, right? Where you are you see, like, let's say like a rustle in the grass and you choose to ignore it because you're like, it's probably not a snake, right? That's a type 1 error, because in the event that is an error, you're fucking dead, right?
Right.
A type 2 error is, let's say, like overvigilance, right? Where like any rustle I see in the grass I perceive as a snake, so I avoid it. Those are something that we are far more rewarded for on an evolutionary trajectory, right? If anything else, so like if there is to be an ego thing,
but the cost is like your mobility is being deprived because you're avoiding all grass patches, right?
Essentially, it's that like you are perceiving and avoiding anything that could harm you, right? So like rather than, let's say, ignoring something and then dying, you are constantly staying at a distance from the thing that could hurt you.
Okay.
But you are falsely categorizing benign stimulus as being threatening. So the point is that we are more likely to be, let's say, like I'd say like we bias identifying issues that do not exist because that is a more viable survival strategy than, let's say, and I'm not big on evopsych. I think it's used to peddle a lot of harmful dogma, but this I think makes some sense, right? In that, like, the more likely you are to interpret harm, the more likely you are to avoid it, right? And so, like, rather than, let's say, being negligent to potential harm, being overvigilant is probably going to yield greater survival rates, right? And so I can understand why people would, let's say, like, in the absence of real world experience, kind of like, isolate themselves and identify all the potential, harm or wrongs in the world and try to avoid them, to the extent to which they maybe never really leave and they find themselves obsessing over the things that could go wrong, so that they're adequately prepared for when they reach it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. So, because I think what you're getting at now is kind of like what happened in quarantine.
Yes.
In quarantine, people lost their fucking mind
Yeah.
in many a way, and I feel that's just like a multitude of problems there. It was a society that was not prepared for the quarantining. It was like a social media infrastructure that is like for profit and therefore like endlessly pro exploitation on your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to doom scroll. I want you to get conspiratorial because I
economy.
want you to be emotionally charged and engaged on all the content. Don't just consume it passively. Make it your identity. If you're a flat earther, I want to get you in the flat earther, ecosystem. That way, you're like, you're in there and you're on there 20 hours a day, just like constantly just feeding it all in.
Yeah, you get essentially relegated to some algorithmic echo chamber that just like continues to confirm your biases over and over and over again, regardless of how asinine.
And normally you would have like some level of like grass to touch, non-quarantine, but during quarantine, hey. Grass is icky, so you can just remain inside here and just continue to isolate further and further.
Yeah, no, it's insane.
So yeah, I can agree.
But the point is that, like, I think that, for instance, let's say the obsession with cuckold porn, right? It's like that is like an in total isolation. Let's say, like, you're removed from the capacity to go out and experience the world as it is, right? You start to build and obsess over this potential, like harm or fear that could, be something you encounter in your day-to-day life, and so it becomes this kind of like maladaptive obsession where it feels as if it's like almost like preparing you for a wrongdoing. I feel as though there's got to be some kind of intersection there where it's like this could happen, and because of that I'm like,
you know what? And when you put it like that, I remember this tweet I saw. Okay, let me click for a second here. There was this tweet. And I think it was just some red pill Andrew Tate loser because it was a really obviously racially charged tweet here. But he asked, all right, guys, there's 2 girls you can date. Which one are you likelier to want to date? Girl A, who has a body count of 60 dudes, but it's all white dudes, or girl B, body count 4 dudes, but they were black dudes.
Fucking weird.
And this dude, the poll was so fucking racist, right? Obviously at an optics level here. But then the poll, what wrapped up?
The comments were just try hard.
Not even close. It was, dude. They were like, yeah, I'd rather the 60 white dudes than the 4 black dudes. I was like, wow. And I'm like, and I think I never thought about. Okay, I thought it was always a racial thing, but I'm like, now I'm thinking about. Wait, was that an interracial cuck
to
porn
think at one
thing?
time there was something called the 3/5 compromise when you are now worth 15 white dudes.
Oh my god!
Can you imagine that? That's your the conversion rate has changed significantly.
We're out here, man.
I mean, look
at
that. I mean, like I would say it's totally.
Dr.
Inflated.
Martin Luther King is smiling from heaven right now. I love it.
It's like and that's what we needed there. Not 3/5. No,
but I mean, first off. It's already terrible because it's already stigmatizing body count, which is already on its own thing.
It doesn't even make sense.
It's already cringe. But then it was like...
The fact that dudes think that vaginas are just like a fucking like shit knit sweater that gets stretched out over time.
It's a used car, bro. If you put mileage on it, it's a diminishing valued asset, and I can't have 60 cocks in there. That's kind of gay, bro.
I don't blame people for, let's say, like being like, I want someone to have a comparable level of experience to me because that makes me feel comfortable.
Understandable.
Sure, whatever. But if you think that there's like a literal defect with someone because they're able to have casual sex, I don't like this whole like, do they use all this weird fucking pseudoscience rhetoric of like the inability to pair bond, and it's like fucking that's
Honestly, dog,
do you
when
mean?
those kinds of people, I'm just like, bro, you just sound like you support like genital mutilation. Like you just wanna sew the vagina shut.
Yeah.
Until you can, like, take it off of layaway, and then you can go ahead and get it surgically unsewn. That way you can throw your cock.
I don't even get it too. It's like I think that it all stems from these like really fundamental insecurities men have about like sex and penis size and their inability to be the best partner that their partner has. Like, because I think that there's no other rationale for it other than like, oh no, she's had an orgasm.
This is very much because this is why I tell my community, I'm like, yo, talk to women. I promise you, this is not even dick size. Not on the women's like top 5. It's like,
No.
are you a threat? Are you comforting? Are you atmospheric? Are you funny? Like, or are you personality compatible? Like, it's not even like dick size is like this is a guy.
It's a male power fantasy.
This is a
That's
guy
it.
on guy thing. Guys talk about dick size
Yes.
more than women. I swear to God. I
No,
promise you
it's
that.
it's so weird in that like if you talk to any woman about their sexual experiences, they will do nothing but catalog disappointment to you. Like on the whole, I'm telling you, the best thing you can do ever as a man, if you are a hetero man and you're having sex with women, is to just ask women what they like.
Thank you. Yes.
That is literally like you
Just
are
talk
you are
to women.
miles ahead of other men.
You will be. I promise you. Yes.
It's like dude,
Don't have the locker room talk. Talk to women.
it's so much because your cock is not that important. It's never. It's really not. It doesn't get hard is like really it. You know, if you're within a few standard deviations of average in either direction, 1 to 2, you're like you will fit, and that's what matters.
You'll be fantastic.
Does
You'll
it
be
get
fine.
hard and does it fit? That's it. And everyone is just like, dude, and that's what this fucking cuckold anxiety does. It's like I'm gonna leave my husband, and like it's so much better than my. It's like it's all, it's meant to. It's meant to plant the seed of fear that will keep you returning to it and indulging it because I hope that's not the case, but now I can't look away from it. You know, it's doom
And
posting.
the grifters love it too, because like if you feel some kind of way about any like Jerome taking your wife, man, they have all kinds of products they can sell you to make you feel better about that anxiety, right?
It's so
So
silly,
yeah,
man.
just keep all that in mind.
Yeah,
too.
they'll sell you all of the first of all, they'll sell you guides because, of course, because you don't have an 11-inch cock, right? So you need to be rich, right? So here's a course on how to sell cryptocurrency. Here's a course on how to,
And don't worry, it's not multi-level marketing. Okay, it's not that.
No.
It's
a guide. I'm a coach.
It's a genuine recruitment tool to better your life. I'm trying to do the whole spiel
It's
right
so
now.
stupid, dude.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I think that it's weird to go through so much of the ebb and flow of the internet and like watch like a new crop of people become subjected to it and suck at navigating it just as much as you did at one point,
It'll be. I agree because I look forward to when historians have to cover the NFT era.
Oh,
And it's just
dude.
like, whenever the peak of it, when there was like, there was NFT discords, and they had like, their good morning, good night rituals, and like if you were not part of the hive mind of delusion on like that, we're gonna build Grand Theft Auto 6 with a staff of like 50 people.
It made no sense.
Yeah, just the level. Like it's like, how do you summarize that era as on a historian perspective?
No, because dude, it's quite literally. You know what it is? It's really similar to the .com era in that like there was a time where like fucking. There were stocks being traded that didn't even have actual business models. They were non-companies that were just like essentially shells named like Cyberweb. And like if you had Cyberweb in your name and you got listed on the fucking Nasdaq.
Are you saying that
could sell.
speculative trading on the stock market is bullshit and just emotionally fickle nonsense?
Yes, my guy. Can you buy that? But like that's
well,
all
we should regulate that
Because-
because then like scammers can scam scammers to scam scammers at that point, could they not?
No, because the people who
Well, how
write
important is
these-
perceptive value
make
then?
all that money.
If
How
you
are
can
you-
if you can just manipulate perceptive value endlessly,
What?
you can just make fake money happen. That's not good.
That was the biggest issue I had with the fucking NFT thing. Was it was like to me it was this really simple thing of like, okay, I can understand someone being like, how do I own? Is there a way to like own for your own sentimental value, like an original frame from like a Tarantino movie or something, right? Because that has like independent value to you as a consumer. You like that. What the fuck does the ape mean to you? What does the Bored Ape mean? Why does it have value? Like, who's deciding it? It's mass-produced nonsense. Why are you? It's a Garbage Patch Kid or
I
Garbage
have an
Pail Kid or
idea,
whatever.
but it's kind of like the boring answer.
Yeah.
The boring answer is it's a bunch of like middle class displaced people with disposable income who want to feel some kind of empowerment and stick it to some man. There's some level of awareness that there needs to be an economic populist movement Because remember, this is what Trump
Yeah.
ran on in 2016. An economic I'm going to take care of the forgotten man. I'm an outsider going to take care of all the corruption. I'm going to
Do you want to know? I think it's a perfect.
So the economic populace is what resonates with people still 2016 to like 2021 and all that shit here. And there's something about that manifested in this whole thing here to like
I think that consumer level investment, like Robinhood kind of investment, is predicated on a sort of FOMO. You know, like it's like an, oh my god, they made all this money and it was so there and so ready, and I just have to trust whatever kind of weird speculative bullshit I'm getting peddled on Reddit, right? But I also think NFTs came at the perfect time in that it was hot off of GME and Dogecoin,
True.
asinine and insanely profitable risks. You know what I mean? For a few people, and so it's like it's this perfect stage of like, oh well, the fucking idiots on the internet were right these 2 times. You know, it's like, well, this has to take off, but like it never made sense. You know what I mean? Like no one could, because don't get me wrong, crypto's similar in that like it only has value if you say it has value.
yeah,
like,
it's compounded
purely
on speculative value, and
there's nothing else.
which
to
is
it.
why the rug pulls are so prevalent in the community because like that's all you really need to get to. Just get the rug pull and
Also,
you
like,
get
dude,
to vote.
what the fuck is like? Are we like? Is there any kind of like legitimate investigation into fucking Elon Musk continuing to like integrate weird like Dogecoin iconography into things and like that not being an obvious
I
like?
don't know.
It's like a bat signal for fucking Dorito dusted Tesla fanboys to go fucking spend money on whatever.
That's
dumb
a
thing
different topic entirely because we have to get into the I don't know. I guess like the characteristics of the optics of wealth because a meritocracy loves to praise wealth and like it took Elon this many mistakes to finally like dilute the value that he's like a billionaire playboy genius.
Oh god, it's insane.
Well,
he had such great PR for a while, man.
I mean, it's been like 32 separate things. It's been like the fact checking on the Emerald Mine. It's been the fact checking. I mean, I'm not gonna get to it. It's like that's a whole other bag of shit here.
Yeah,
we can spend like a whole other day on just like Elon and Twitter and X and.
Also, the fiction of Tesla as like a company is funny to me because it's like, the dude actively tried to find ways to obstruct new public transit initiatives in LA. So he could build a fucking tunnel for Tesla. Like, fuck you, dude. All I want is a nice train or a subway. I want to.
Yeah, that tunnel idea was so fucking cringe, dude. It was like. Supposed to be like a 1 lane too. It was like
you build like the HOV lane.
Zero
like,
practicality.
No,
what the fuck are we doing?
If you're gonna fucking tunnel out the underground, put a fucking train in it. For God's sake, why would you not do that? You fucking built it. Put it in there.
Yeah, why not? Why are we building society for like moving cars and not moving?
Wait,
humans?
why are we building society for the wealthiest people to enjoy the fruits of it?
Why must
who's
why
building
must
society?
an American purchase a vehicle? Beholden to private corporations to manufacture them to exist in society. I am taxed as an adult for the creation of these roads that require this giant like paywall to participate in. The fuck is up with that,
dude? I hate.
Then you do compounding business practices now where like you have to put a parking spot for every 100 square feet of your building, and it's just like So I'm paying for the parking spaces too because the prices are going to be inflated.
Dude, if you want to get into Euclidean zoning,
I know it's so dumb.
I played City Skylines.
I hate America. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. I'm a fucking commie. Lock me up. I don't care.
Sue me.
Take me to Denmark. Take me to Norway.
I just want to look. I think that I am. I
shit.
think that 90% of why people love college is because they lived in a walkable. Community.
That's literally what I said earlier to
was my first thought.
Fan. I was like, because he was reminiscing about college, and I was like, bro, you're aware the reason why you loved college was because you lived in a walkable society, right?
Yeah, you would see your friends when you go out into the world.
It was a walkable community, and for that one point in your life, it was not an isolated car barren shithole.
Yeah, where you go from your fucking single family home with this person you committed to at 22 because you felt like you had to, and now it's 5 years later, you don't feel like you know them, but you don't know how to mend that bridge, and so you go from your fucking barren single family home in a suburban hellscape into your fucking steel trap of a vehicle that you drive an hour one direction while you loathe the people that surround you. Then you go work in your fucking cubicle, and then you get back into your fucking death trap, and you loathe people again for an hour, and then you go back to this fucking marriage that you hardly recognize with this person who you no longer share any values with, but you continue to persist because it's all you know. And what then was the last 5 years if you throw it all away? You know, it's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, sunken cost fallacy's a motherfucker.
It's brutal. Yeah, we need polemism. Yeah, that's it. All right, I had a non-political question for you.
Oh.
because I feel like we've been at it for a bit. I don't know how long you want to stay here, but I have to take it away from politics so I don't feel like I stun locked all day.
No, for sure.
I don't know if they like it that much. I love talking about politics.
No, I get you.
I literally will stun lock into oblivion.
I've learned to make peace with trying to just because it's the boring answer is like we can make everything political, right? Because everything is intrinsically political. Yeah, so it's like because we're able to extend this conversation to like its natural causations, it's like it becomes political rather than like isn't it fucked up that like Diablo has like four fake currencies and it's like well and then they make it
like it once you know
that surface once you know it's like you can just bring it all back here to either racism, Citizens United, or Ronald Reagan,
and all of those things are still controlled by really weird capitalist imperatives. Like so much of racism stems from a need to essentially subjugate an individual on the basis of something that they can quote unquote justify. It's like, well, why is this person property and not this person? Well, because of their skin. Boom. Okay, next fucking 300 years. It's all for money. It was
it's actually really simple and boring when you really break it down. Honestly.
It is. It's just we need more money. But when do you think Twitch is at its best?
When do I think?
I'm curious if you have like an old head take or if you're.
When do I think Twitch is at its best?
Yeah.
As in.
Talk about culturally.
Pre-Amazon acquisition, I'd say 2015.
Really?
So once the Amazon, so it is true. Okay, so veteran boomer Twitch, in that Justin TV becoming Twitch, right? The rebranding happened here, and it went from like less piracy of just like regular licensed content like Family Guy into like actually becoming like a program that was like built around sharing the streaming of video games and all that. Twitch had culture. There's a reason why reading a Twitch chat engages you versus like reading a YouTube live chat, which you just completely disregard. There's a reason why like YouTube comments were largely ignored for a very long time because they were just like unproductively shit, full of spam and garbage, and usually the worst takes ever. And like Twitch chat felt like it was actually of value to consume. To the point where like the dopamine of like consuming a Twitch live stream was both the content that was happening in the video player as well as the chat's reaction. And this is proven, this manifested because the fact that like Twitch plays Pokemon, where like the chat was the content. Twitch is playing Pokemon. That blew up and was viral because we were seeing the value of a live engagement of a high culture manifested in real time and everything. So for me, the peak of Twitch in this regard is 2015 because before the Amazon acquisition happened, Twitch valued the long-term game on its competitive front being its non-replicable culture. YouTube so badly wanted the culture. They did a couple of acquisitions before where we are now with late era Amazon owned Twitch. YouTube Gaming was trying really hard to like acquire that talent. The talent denied. There were many buyout attempts from Google on behalf of YouTube to get people there.
It feels so manufactured and strange.
Yeah, that was all like 2016. But yeah, they denied it because it was like, no, Twitch is the party I want to be at.
Yeah.
And where we are now, okay, obviously to be fair here, pre-Amazon Twitch did not have a plan for revenue positive. It was a long-term plan that was going to require more venture seed rounds and just prayers and duct tape and rubber bands and glue and whatnot. There was no plan because it was obviously they were very, very expensive. I remember because they were whenever there was like a League International or Dota International, whatever it may be here, Twitch was useless. Like when there was a big tournament with 40,000 viewers, the services could not scale to service everything, including that.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so there was just some weekends where just like Twitch just like was like down for everything but Dota or down for everything but League. As an example.
So yeah,
I remember it was like a 2013 and 2015 problem here, and so they were hemorrhaging money to try to like get more capital just to get more engineers to clean up the antiquated JTV code from the time. And but yeah, that is like when things were peak. I feel like now, yes, Twitch is a better ran company in terms of like having way more engineering expansion, using way more of AWS to be able to like have all the scaling of delivering live video feeds. It's a fuckload of bandwidth that costs a fuckload more money. It's way more expensive than YouTube's to operate proportionally compared to how much customers they serve per capita, etc. And but they make more money now, but I do feel that the culture is not a priority anymore because they don't really care about this whole 10-year long-term plan. I think Twitch will always win the live streaming
I agree.
competitive field.
I think the question is how long live streaming persists as a desirable.
They'll always win, but they could dominate because you can't buy the culture. You can't. You can't. There was a point where it was like, you can't buy capital. You can't buy I don't know, whatever it may be here. Like the Twitch chat was just something that they could just never get, and it's proven because the monetization is crazy. Like, you know, how much money people are spending on veteran YouTubers for their content compared to how much money the average consumer is spending on a Twitch streamer. Night and day. There's a reason why the YouTubers they fled the Patreon because they were not getting monetization like they wanted on YouTube as they were on Twitch. The culture proved this. So
No,
I
Twitch
think
is so unique in that regard.
Yeah.
Like the rapport that streamers have with their chat, with their community is, I think, like,
when you look at the money,
legitimately
how much money like an 80K view per video YouTuber who uploads like 10 times a month compared to like even like a mid-sized partner on Twitch was probably comparable, I would say. I know CPM is going to be very different. It's a lot more difficult to get into the whole nuances here, but like
I think that you can milk your fucking in-video ads more for YouTube, but I'm not exactly sure. Because a lot of YouTubers say the money's much better there, but I imagine that they're smaller streamers because, I mean, like, dude, it's...
that's so hard to say now because, like, if they say the money's better on YouTube, it's also like, well, how big are you on Twitch? Because discoverability on Twitch is bad.
Awful,
I agree. The discovery here is awful, but the monetization here is great.
That's another thing, though, is that I used to be, like, kind of up in arms about that with Twitch, but over time I came to realize that discoverability isn't really the issue. It's that viewers don't consume based on click-through. Like, a live stream is a long-form investment, and in order for you to actually care enough about a community to stick around, care enough about a creator to stick around, they either have to be doing a completely fucking asinine out there. Like, Extra Emily's a great example of that. Extra Emily, do you know who she is?
Yeah.
She's done a fucking remarkable job of creating must-watch, high-octane stream events to where it converts really well. New people are going to be like, whoa, well, I mean, look what the fuck she's doing. Why wouldn't I watch that? I have to, you know? But if you want to make content in the way that I make content, or a lot of other people do, it's about, you have to be invested in this person's perspective and the way their community engages with that perspective, their game they're playing, where they're at in the game. I mean, like, there's so many layers of it that, like, it's not as simple as, like, even if you fucking plastered a bunch of 20 viewer Andys on the front page, they're not gonna fucking watch them. And that's like, that's just the reality of how it's consumed, is that, like, you kind of have to have relevance elsewhere now in order to be a desire or really good at a game.
Actually, okay, I want to compound this with the other point here that Twitch is very top heavy, and that the big
the rich get richer,
get richer type thing here, but also the fact that it's not very algorithmically driven like YouTube is comparatively. It's very analog and stupid with how that works, and that's important to note because I think that there's a saturation of just like power users. There's people now who are like me, who have been on Twitch now for 10 years. Either they've been watching for 10 years, they've been watching for 10 years, right? And most people are probably going to their following page and doing their online ritual of like, okay, well, is Wake live? Is TriHex live? Is Hassan live? And if not, then they go from like interactive dynamic video to then YouTube for like static video. And then if nothing there, then they go to like, okay, text-based mediums like Twitter or whatever social media is going to be. I think it's usually the order you go down here because it's the most engaging and the most like FOMO, and you cascade down on that front. And I think here the problem is like the amount of users that you can still capture at this point in that traditional method. I think is kind of like peaked a little bit, and that it's probably better for you if you desire better monetization and better sustainability on Twitch to find growth elsewhere and bring those foreign audiences to the Twitch experience.
Well, that's the thing, is that like Twitch.
So this is why people need to, like, in my opinion, need to go to TikTok and YouTube Shorts and hit that shit hardcore and grow off that shit and then bring them to Twitch.
I don't think that there are Twitch viewers. I think that there are viewers of specific creators, and that you grow one of two ways. It's either by making new viewers for you as a creator elsewhere, or, you know, like integrating through collaborative efforts, you know, finding audiences through that. But the reality is that, like, you don't have like new people like being like, oh, what's Twitch? You know, I'm gonna watch something on Twitch. It's just, unless you build a new content wave or something that beckons people in. And frankly, I think that Twitch probably saw the most growth when people started integrating IRL into like, not inorganic. I consider COVID to be kind of an inorganic growth, because it was like, what the fuck do I do? But like when Twitch really became like, and I have to watch this, it was when IRL became this like de facto
2016
meta. And I think that you're going to get this whole pendulum swing where there's a new IRL imperative. I think Extra Emily's a great example of that's like a success of her as a creator, is that she's done really cool IRLs and she's made it so that people are like, I have to see this, you know what I mean? And I think that that's really what streaming does better than anything is it does gaming well. Obviously, I want to watch a gameplay. I want to watch a playthrough that's not edited, just me hanging out, second monitor. I'm doing my work, and then it does obviously gaming events well. But IRL is like one of the few things that you cannot get a better viewing experience of through a condensed YouTube video. Like I don't think you can. IRL is like the experience of what the fuck's gonna happen. You know what I mean? And so you see a lot of that shit. I don't know. I think it's interesting because there have been so many content metas in the time you've been around, and you've seen the website go up and down and see what's been successful for people. And I legitimately think that IRL is one of the things that is so difficult to replicate or quantify anywhere else. You know what I mean? It's something that Twitch really does uniquely deliver on.
I can agree with that.
But again, it's also kind of a pain in the dick to do. But
Yeah, it's a little bit exhausting, especially if you have to like do it solo. Like, 'cause it's a little. You're talking to your selfie stick pretty much
in public, which is like kind of
in
humiliating
public, which is
in a
like
way.
mentally taxing as fuck. But when you do it with people, if it's like me and you, if it's just me and another person, it's like tenfold easier.
It's not even making content. It's so nice. Like hanging out, honestly, anytime. It's one of the things that I think COVID taught a lot of creators, and it's became maybe a crutch, is that having another person with you is like, it's no longer work. It's the easiest, most.
I realized how lucky I was that I had, me and Venom were already, happily together and all that at the house whenever COVID happened. Because like I'm like, if I was like, if COVID had happened in 2014, for example, when I'm like, broke college student, borderline student loans about to happen to me, type of shit, and then and then COVID, so I'm like alone in my apartment, quarantining, alone, isolated, taxing, very very taxing. That would I think that if you like anyone who got hit with like COVID stress, I understand. Like it's a motherfucker for sure.
No, it's a huge. I mean, just not having that. I mean, COVID also allowed people to like essentially create like vicarious social experiences as a viewership spectacle, which is like, it's not. I don't think it's that simple anymore. Of like, oh wow, people are hanging out and I get to experience people hanging out in a time where I can't hang out with people. It's like that was like one of a kind kind of stuff, man. I don't know. I think that was like a very time and place thing. The COVID wave is something I wish I had experienced because it seemed wild as fuck. How did it affect you, like as a streamer?
Like what, COVID?
Yeah.
I became very political. You know what it was? It was the first time ever that I felt like the fabric of the stability of society was collapsing before me, and I really felt like there was nothing reassuring me that it wasn't going to stop continuing to collapse further and further. So I started to just watch the daily White House briefings as like a opening stream thing, because he was doing them daily, right? The Trump administration was doing the White House briefings daily with the COVID stuff here, and it was one delusion after the other here,
Yeah.
14 days to stop the spread, said Pence, and we'll be over before Easter. And I'm just like, you're full of shit. It's not. There's like no evidence of that at all here. You know. Remember what they were saying? We're gonna convert every parking lot of every Walmart and Walgreens into like a COVID testing center. That never fucking happened.
No, of course not.
Just all the lies that were fed on that March 13th broadcast was
you were
insane.
gonna fucking pump all the pharma stocks that you knew you were gonna greenlight, and then fucking the amount of
Sorry, I'm political here, but you okay.
It's so hard not to.
It is hard not to.
You're just like, fucking look at it. It's here, and it's fucking all of us all the time.
So I was like, so how did it affect me? It affected my content. I was unable to play video games normally because I'm just like, bro, I don't want anyone in my community to fucking die from misinformation or just like thinking that we're safe when we're not.
Yeah.
So I would open the stream by watching the White House press briefing of the day, and then I would debunk everything as best as I could and argue with a bunch of people who were like equating COVID to like seatbelts and whatever their false equivalence was back before it was officially killing a 9/11's worth of people every fucking day by November of 2020. And of course, then by that point they're also quiet. They also moved the goalposts now. They don't care about COVID deaths. They care about anti-vax or vax deaths now. Whatever, fuck.
Myocarditis.
Yeah, they just kept moving the goalpost over.
You mean the thing you get from COVID?
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. And I just it drained me down, dude. I'm like, how do I play video games when I feel like the world is dying as I fucking know it, dude? Holy shit.
Well, I think people also got to a how do I watch video games thing, too. Like, I think a lot of... You got a huge... I don't know when things really started to shift away from video gaming is like... Obviously, gaming is still the majority of the website, right? But, like, just chatting being the, predominant, model there. or the predominant category, it's typically the largest one. I mean, like, that had to be weird as like an OG gameplay streamer too, to be like, oh shit, people just want to fucking talk now. Oh fuck.
Well, I was always a talkative person. This is where my life skill before being a streamer came into play. So it is true that I was speedrunning since 2004, and I've been streaming since 2011.
Wait, you did
but
other things? You did other things?
I did.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm not a Gen Z streamer where I saw a ninja pop off. And I'm like, oh, I want the success of streaming.
Dude.
So let me at 16. What's my career path? I want to be a streamer. I want to be a content creator.
People who just desire the attention in the abstract are so fucked, man.
Oh, dude,
and I mean like in a way that I wince at it, because like there's no shortage of attention for you to get if you're willing to go there. And that's the thing I've been most at odds with streaming, is like there are plenty of ways I could take like my position in this environment and like, you know, what I know people will watch and just fucking
farm it.
But like, when all you want is attention and you don't have any kind of like personal ambition, or like, let's say like even like communal ambition, like what do you want for your community, what do you want to like feel as if you've given, what do you want to communicate, it's like you can just fucking ruin yourself being like, it's like sailing without a compass and just putting your fucking sail up and being like, I don't care where this is taking me, I'm going there, you know, you have no fucking clue, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I fear I'm gonna get raw for you, okay?
Go.
So people like I Show Speed, I'm just like, bro, he's gonna be so mentally fucked by like 25, because I'm just like, bro, you're so young. I don't know. He's already doing, in my opinion, he's already doing like the attention gimmick fetching stuff that like tells me that you lack substance and a purpose with what you're doing. And but you're also getting validated because of the economic success of it and the prosperity from it all. And I'm wondering like what values you're deriving from this endeavor, and what will it mean whenever you're out of it? Like, because obviously, screaming through your microphone and just like berating everyone and everything, you know, jumping at your computer and all that, these are all cool gimmicks that get you by for today.
Yeah. And
it appeals to like a 12-year-old audience, in my opinion. Now,
Tyler 1 does that well. Tyler 1 gets really mad. He rages into his headset.
But what do you do when you're like 25 and are you still gonna try to appeal to 12-year-olds at that point? Like,
oh yeah, no.
I mean, I guess if you emotionally are stunted and you still think like a 16-year-old, I guess maybe yeah. But like, I would think that when he's 25, it won't appeal to him as much anymore, or he'll be burned out because it'll just be so unfulfilling and repetitive that like.
I don't get it, dude.
I say that as a compassionate plea here, Chad. I'm not shitting on I Show Speed in this regard.
He's a great creator.
I worry that like what happens when the good times are done and you lack the emotional maturity and development that allows you to like rationalize moving on to the next thing.
No, it's one of those things where I think that you have to think really hard about what you want to be doing for an extended period of time and how you want to scale that with like your emotional maturity, right? It's part of why like a big thing for me when I got into this was like, how do I build an audience I can sustain by doing the things I like, you know what I mean? Rather than like only trying to placate to like, people are going to click this shit and they're going to love it and they're going to clip it, you know what I mean? It's like, what's the balance of like, this is something I love and it's something I think you'll like too, rather than me just like chasing the high. Because like I think you saw this with like, you know, like fucking Ice Poseidon was a good example of like a dude who was like, I gotta one up every fucking stream and it's got literally more and more off the wall.
That's what's good about IRL is like whenever you have to like top yourself and it's like, how do I can't, like, you know.
Yeah, it's like fucking where you're just
you
like,
want me to exist in a hyper reality and not in actuality.
It's like trying to live produce you know, S-tier reality television every day, you know, like you just can't, like this shit is like, you take concentrated moments and you take breaks and like, but you need to keep going because you have momentum and people are clicking in, you got to maintain, like, dude, if you don't have a good grounded perspective on streaming, and I'm lucky that a lot of the people I know have like streamed for a while and they're like, don't do the shit I did, don't do this, don't do that, trust me on this, to where like I avoided just being like, don't forget me, doing this, you know, it's like that shit'll fucking kill you, dude. Because this is a weird. It is the best job. It's a job, but it's not a job. It's the coolest thing. And it's also like psychologically, if you don't know how to like, you seem to have a really grounded relationship.
Well, I was trying to tell you about that. So my life experience was that I was a waiter for 8 years. So I waited tables for 8 years before I was a streamer full time. So I told you I started in 2011. Doesn't mean I was full-time in 2011. I wasn't full-time until 2015.
No wonder you hate America. You were subject to tip culture for 8 years.
Oh,
That's brutal.
Mm-hmm.
You just had to fucking.
Now, here's the funny thing about that, though. While that's a hot topic, if you want to get into that, I was subject to that tip culture, and it is stupid and like just exploitative all around here. However, I made much more than a. See, I used to say wagey, but you called it labor batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made more than the labor batteries. I'm making for sure, you know. Like,
yeah, 100%.
So I tactically chose to remain a waiter because it was one of the few jobs where I can make a decent enough amount of money working half the week on all the peak shifts.
Mm-hmm.
So I had another half of the week to actually do Twitch.
Yeah.
Which is what I wanted to do. Twitch gave me fulfillment. Waiting tables, I got better at it. But it wasn't like, it was very hollow, and I worked at a very dysfunctional dysfunctional
Both.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both there.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts. So you had a whole. I mean, like, how old are you?
34.
34.
Yeah. So yeah, so my social engineering is really good because I became so acutely aware of when people were tuning out whenever I was pitching things to them as a waiter. So I had a lot of practice on like how to pace things well, how to tell stories, how to resonate with them, and how to leave a lasting impression. So I can build a clientele of regulars who would request me upon entrance.
People would request to be like,
"Oh,
bring me."
Oh yeah. So this is global for like restaurant etiquette here. You can, if you tip fat, yeah, you walk in the front door. Yes, is S-Fan here tonight? I want to be in his section. You can just, yeah. That's a chat. Help me. That's a restaurant etiquette. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I don't think I've frequented a restaurant to that point in my life where I have been. I've had crushes on waitresses.
You would have loved me then, because what I would do is I would make sure your meal was accurate. I'd make sure it was fast. I'd make sure I'd figure out what your agenda was. Are you here? Are you here with the shawty trying to go to the movie theater after this, or are you here on your lunch break and you're trying to hurry up and like be in and out in like 15 minutes or whatever, right? So I'm gonna bring up like what meals are fast to make, etc., etc. I figure out the occasion. And I give you the level of attention and service you want based off of what you're looking to do.
What would you do if I was there with a shouty? How would you be setting me up? Like, what do you like? Did you ever like throw like a lob to someone? Were you ever giving him the assist? Like, what happened?
Oh, of course, yeah. So
how would you do it?
So if you do it with a bad shouty, it just comes down to like how old are you? Because if y'all are like younger, then I'm gonna bring up like what, like I'll give it to like, get the 2 for 20.
That Justin Bieber's.
Yeah, like I'll bring up like I'm gonna make you look good. I'm not gonna make you look bad. So I'm not gonna like I don't know, like if you're like a picky eater, I'm not gonna like roast you or whatever. I'm just gonna, rather than say, okay, you're
gonna fuck him.
You want the Alfredo chicken pasta? Do you want me to add tomatoes and onions to that? A small thing I would do is I would ask that, and you would say no.
Rather than take it off.
Rather than be like, hey, I'm gonna warn you, it comes with tomatoes and onions, and those are icky. I know that y'all Zoomers are picky fucking eaters, so if I make you look bad here, I'm gonna go ahead and. Do you want me to get rid of that for you? You know what I mean? Like
eat the icky food.
Yeah.
Can you do mushrooms?
Another thing I would do is like if they both ordered, so the chicken pasta would come with the garlic toast, right?
Yeah.
So if it was like, depending on how I was getting the read there, if they both ordered a meal that comes with the garlic toast, I would put both on her plate and say that it was at his insistence.
Oh.
As a playful little joke there, right? Just to like I'm throwing a ball. It gives easy conversation. I'm breaking the ice all the way there. So it's those little small things come into play. And then at the end here, what I would always do is like, well, look, if you had a good experience, my name is Michael. I'm glad you enjoyed my service here. Next time, don't let a bad waiter be left up to chance. You can just request me at the door next time. And then they do boom, easy minimum 5, ideally a 10. They left on the table.
It's like Michael,
and then they remember, oh shit, Michael with the afro. Fuck yeah, dude. Okay, cool. And that was a lasting impression. That's when you're tying the knot, sealing the deal.
Yeah, so chat, don't let a bad streamer ruin your Twitch experience, okay? Make sure you follow the stream, you subscribe, you choose where you spend your time.
Imagine watching content that you're proud to have spent money on supporting.
Imagine that.
When's the last time you subbed and you were proud of it? Or you bragged
You're asking
about
my viewers. It's been a very long time.
Yeah.
They're all just regretfully subscribing in between cum jokes.
This content is the content that you wish to see in this world. We are the change you wish to see. So why not support it?
Chat, does your girlfriend want to have sex with you yet? Did it happen? Did it work? Yes or no? That's Did you ever witness like an unraveling kind of like Rear Window infidelity situation? Because like you're working at did someone ever bring like multiple dates to the same spot?
Okay, no. So transparency here. I worked at a Chili's. It was so just because I figured.
Oh, nice.
So I worked at a Chili's. In case you're wondering, for 7.5 years. I did not think I'd be that long. I wanted to quit to 3. It's a horribly ran corporation.
Oh, sure.
Fuck Chili's. Fuck Brinker International. Fuck GameStop. Worked there too, by the way. Terrible company as
Dude,
well.
I
can spare you all about GME. I worked at GameStop for 4 years.
I don't even know where the clip is, but I had official GameStop come into my channel, and I didn't really know it was real. And they were like, "What are your thoughts on pre-owned video game products?" And I said, "Well, GameStop, when I try to sell them, I want to get literal pennies on the dollar. I want to get absolutely fucked by the person I'm trying to sell it to." And they said, "Thank you for your thoughts," and they left. And then I went and confirmed this is like actually GameStop's legitimate Twitch account. And then like the next month, they sponsored like 8 of my friends and not me.
Wow.
And I stand
Good
by
riddance.
it.
Good riddance.
And I
Yeah,
stand by
good
it.
riddance. Dude, fuck GameStop, bro. Trust me, that's a hollow corporation.
Yeah, no, it was brutal. It was, but you know, to the moon, man.
To the moon,
Fucking
baby. Moon
dude,
fuel, rocket
money's
fuel.
coming from every just Prince, man. Kind of.
But yeah, I worked at. You were asking about infidelity, and the answer is, while no, that didn't happen. I had a guy. Oh, I remember this here. This guy was like so fucking insecure. He legitimately thought I was trying to mac on his girl, and like they like bailed on the table because he thought I was about to get her or whatever. Like, I'm just like, dog, I'm trying to get tipped here. I don't know why, you know, because I did a cute little joke.
Yeah.
She ordered a tropical sunrise, which is like a pineapple and cherry grenadine.
Like, oh, would you like me to fuck you? I could do that.
Yeah, like I brought her a tropical sunrise, and I told her, hey, you know, I know how the ladies love it right now because you know it's ladies' night. It's always ladies' night, right?
Yeah.
Any day of the week is ladies' night. So I just like, you know, so I gave you like, you know, sugar on the rim with a nice little orange wedge for you. Boom, there you go, bam.
You hear that, man? Every night's ladies' night.
So I did a little show.
The feminists have gone too far.
Every night is ladies' night, y'all. So I just gave her a little showmanship, and he felt some kind of way about that. I don't know. Like I don't know. I gave him his little Bud Light or whatever. He was like so tight that like she giggled and laughed upon my persuasion of the
You
drink.
gave him a Bud Light?
Bro,
Try that in a small town,
It wasn't.
bucko.
It was not a bottle of tranny semen. It was regular Bud Light. This is pre-woke
Yeah.
Bud Light. Okay, so
Rumor says he's furiously beating his meat to trans porn right
Oh,
now.
I'm sure he is actually. Probably gargling the semen.
Just completely wrong.
Oh my god, dude. Because if he swallows the tranny semen, then at that point, it's the
Well,
erasure.
then it's gay if you swallow it. It's not gay if you.
No, it's
only
not.
gay
It's
if you
not
swallow
gay.
it.
It's alpha because he's erasing it. The jar is now empty. There's no tranny
Oh,
semen.
he's getting rid of it. He's turning it into piss.
Yeah, it's like a sacrificial grenade. You know, it's
Smart.
like yeah.
That's how you got to rid them of their power.
Yeah, you know, it's erasing the trans agenda 1 milliliter of semen at a time.
Oh man, see
It's
that
powerful.
you know they're not sigmas, right? That's how see this is why you know that trans women are women is because you know sigmas don't come. Okay, that's the case. All right, real men, you guys don't
Man.
ejaculate.
Are you one of those guys? Sigmas don't come because they're moderators on NoFap, but also Sigmas don't
Dude,
wipe
you've
because
been
they
around. Do you remember like NoFap's original wave on Reddit? Like you were probably around Reddit for that back in the day, right?
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing. It was so weird.
I mean,
Suddenly
which
everyone
thing
was
is
like,
just-
"Don't
it's-
touch your penis anymore. You're done with that. You can't touch that penis. You're done touching." That's
I couldn't tell.
God.
The problem for me was like early NoFap. I couldn't tell if it was parody or just trolls trolling trolls. I really couldn't tell anymore. I lost track of that. at that
dude. I
point.
was young enough. I tried it. I was 17 when I found it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I went 3 whole months without ejaculating.
Holy shit!
And you want to know what? To their credit, I lost my virginity very quickly thereafter. Because I was like, I cannot ejaculate. It worked well at a 17-year-old who was very, nervous around women and sex. I did because I was so horny that I was like, I am gonna do this. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do it. And do you want to know what happened?
What happened?
I came in like 6 seconds. It was just the most. Oh, dude, just so. I didn't come in 6. It was 3 months of not ejaculating.
That's powerful shit, dude.
No, it was like I will. And you want to know what, guys? It was bar none, start to finish, the worst thing. I went from having ED to coming too quickly. I was so anxious. I was like 17, 18 years old, never had sex, had not ejaculated in 3 months. Do you want to know what? She still wanted to see me again. That's where the bar is. That's where the bar is. We had sex for not just another time. We dated for 6 months. That was the first time we'd met. Guys.
Wait, pause here.
Yeah.
So tell me, upon your 6-second ejaculation,
Yeah.
right? Did she ridicule you? Did she go to the nearest like black dude and just like fuck him in front of you?
Okay, that actually did happen.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it was, to be fair, she said it was because of the size of my penis. She made it very clear
Oh, damn, dude.
that all black men have
Oh.
huge cocks and
Oh,
white men
no.
don't. And that's just the way that it's the roll of the dice. You got to deal with it. Wait.
See, I was being facetious here because I thought she was gonna say, "Oh, I made you come in 6 seconds." That gave me great validation. Wow.
No.
No, it wasn't like not a no at all. No, she. So what she actually wanted, she wanted a sex god with a fat cock.
Yeah, no,
Who never
100%.
who
Start
never
to finish.
ejaculates because that's
Well,
that's
that means he's
that's
beta.
that beta
Yeah,
cuck
no,
shit.
you can't. What? She gave
No.
you pleasure?
No.
What are you?
Yeah,
are you a little boy? Did you get tickled?
So only the men can get sexual validation, making the women come endlessly, but the men must never come.
No, God, no. It's like laughing at their jokes. What are you?
Well, I'm confused here because like if what you're saying is true, then like I'm thinking about a Venn diagram here. A guy who is closet homosexual just is not into the hetero act of fucking his wife.
no.
But then you, the alpha male, are also never coming either. So it's just like I'm not understanding here. Are we Sigma or are we gay? Like, I'm
Real
trying to,
Sigmas understand that sex is about duty. Okay, it's about ensuring that at all costs your woman never thinks for a moment that there's anyone else that could give you an
where's
orgasm.
her validation at? Like, if you never come, then what the like? Won't that like
She
invalidate?
doesn't deserve that. What do you mean?
Oh man. Okay.
Based on what, Michael?
I don't know. I just I read your like how to fuck book and it said do pre-game fat that way you don't come too quickly. And I'm like, well,
it was edging so
so-
that you came. So look, here's the thing: if you're gonna come, you have to pretend like you didn't, and then gaslight her and say that spit. I didn't do it.
oh my god. Okay, I cracked.
I didn't come.
Bruh,
That was that. What
bruh.
do you, one time I actually did that though. That's not a lie. Actually, in the reverse, that is a lie. I faked an orgasm once successfully.
Oh, wow.
Successfully.
I tell you what,
Without a condom.
if we're doing like sex stories now, I mean, there was this one time where I swear to God, like I ejaculated, but I did an orgasm. I'm just like, oh, that's a thing. You can just do that.
Oh yeah. Dude,
that shit
okay,
was
so do
crazy.
you want to know what happened in my NoFap experience? Okay, in the 3 months of like me.
I was
peak
gonna ask you, I'm like, how'd you go to bed? 'Cause I feel like you have like probably
Miserable,
like uncontrollable like just
miserable.
boner and just like how do you even like?
You hit this weird dead state where you no longer feel joy because you're just so like removed from good feeling and stimulus that like, and then you just come back kind of angry and horny. It's weird. It was a weird thing. I would never do it again. What happened though was like I learned that this is gonna be kind of graphic, but you're gonna have to deal with this, Michael. I learned at one
fine.
point. Okay, so I think it might have been like about 2 months in. I went to go take a shit. Okay. And I take my shit as is, so be it. And then I go to wipe, and I kind of like I go and I look first. I look and I admire what happened, and then I noticed that there's like this fucking kind of like puddle of nut at the front of the toilet, and I was like, whoa.
No way, that's cap.
No, this is not cap. What I learned is that I had essentially fucking inflated my poor prostate so much with just backlogging 2 months of nut that like pooping pushed it out of my body.
Wow.
No orgasm. It just pushed it out like
No.
a tube of toothpaste.
It makes sense. I mean, that's definitely like I forget. Like I think the male clitoris is like located actually. Like I forget it's like gooch massage. Like
Oh, the G spot?
yeah, it's like
the
gooch
prostate.
massaging or whatever, or some shit. Like yeah, it's like if you ever go to like donate semen, this is like what the assisted technique is most efficient.
Wait,
for.
there's a legitimate assisted technique? They'll actually put a person in there to help you? That can't be the case.
They don't need to do it now, but if you Google it, yeah, there was the spec procedure to assist in ejaculation is going to be involving prostate massage.
Okay, okay.
Well, I say prostate and gooch, yeah.
Well, the point was
But that's only if you're like gay though. Like if you're not gay, if you're a Sigma and you're not gay, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, no, they're not gay.
Of course,
not
right,
gay.
so-
One's in chat if you're not gay. Not gay. We're not gay. We don't take any shit, okay? Isn't that funny that was Gen X's whole identity? I'm not gay and I don't take shit. Okay, so don't tell me that I'm gay or that I take shit because I don't take shit because I'm not gay. I listen to Limp Bizkit because I'm not gay. You know that, Michael?
Yeah, it's
My way or the highway. All right, chicken.
the reason
check
is
it out.
see the problem is that Gen X is just cringe because social media wasn't around until they were already had all their core values as an adult already like rigidly defined. So they're just like so delusional and entitled on like what the fuck they think is like cool or whatever. So
They're the middle child of generations. Also, like, dude, I never cared about
boomers just completely ignore social media entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Gen X is this awkward one that just like has their core values defined and they're not
boomers
malleable.
do not ignore social media, dude. No one shit posts on Facebook more than a fucking 60-year-old.
Well, they like. I don't see. That's a hard one. I don't know. I'm trying to think about how to articulate that more accurately. It's like it's like social media is just how they talk on the phone, and now they talk on Facebook the way they talk on the phone. That's how I see it.
They just and they'll have like weirdly formal debates on there where they'll like
they don't change their values. I'm trying to say like they don't change their values. Like they're overwhelmingly just like very rigid in their ways.
I think that they're in this weird transition phase where they were like they were subjected to all the values that their parents were subjected to and weren't given any additional freedom or flexibility, but they weren't given the fruits of that, you know, kind of like weird rigid paradigm of promise, you know. And so you have all these people who are like, I didn't get participation trophies, and I'm like, and look at you anyway, you know, you're still not winning. I mean, what did you you know, like it didn't help. Like it was this weird middle ground of like there was no real fruit to bear, but at the same time like I feel like millennials were more aware of the fallacy, right? Like we bought it, but we were like kind of like, I don't know about this, you know. I don't think Gen X ever had that. I think they still think they won. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
There's
definitely.
less frustration. It's just
and right now it's a weird time to exist because I think what is going to be definitively the biggest cultural rift across generations. Like think about it, from Boomer to Zoomer.
Oh, huge.
Has got to be what is going to be for centuries, if not forever, the biggest gap. Because we're talking about pre-technology leaping, like industrial revolution is preluding some of them actually.
Oh, yeah.
Into social media infancy, into like now social media.
It gets really tiered, dude.
Like it's so fucking crazy if you think about like how life even was pre 07, pre social media, pre smartphone.
Do you miss that ever?
Much less like pre fucking civil rights movement, dude. Like it's crazy.
Do you miss that at all? Pre social media?
Yeah, I do. Because social media is like ultimately gamified to be as addictive as possible, not in any way.
New social media sucks. I liked MySpace when I could get my fucking like Notorious B.I.G. MySpace profile theme and like, you know.
I like it when it was dumber and more analog. Now it's just like it's so like new Reddit, right? New Reddit now with the whole like charging more and
awful,
like
not fun.
Which by the way, there was a topic earlier we were supposed to cover. I didn't finish it. LSF, they're fucking cucks. I'm sorry, I'm gonna call out here. The LSF subreddit. Remember when they were all holding out in solidarity because of the Reddit thing? And then the fucking LSF ones, because the mods were going to lose fucking power for like a day, they were like, oh, well, we caved into the first.
Did that happen?
Oh, you didn't see that? Dude,
No.
They were such fucking cucks, dude. Yes.
That's sad.
So, if you remember here, the idea was 7,000 subreddits were going to, in solidarity, lock their subreddits because of the unwelcomed policy changes that were going to lead to, like, Reddit fucking itself for an IPO, right?
Wait, what did they get threatened? Someone saying they got threatened?
It was a vaguely threatening letter that implied that if you don't unlock your subreddit, we're gonna appoint new mods to open it back up here. To which the LSF mod said that, like, you know, to ensure the quality of the Reddit remains, we're gonna give in and unlock the subreddit. Which was like, wait. So you're telling me that your moderation and your vetting is essential to the quality of the LSF be worth visiting? Let them fucking do it. Yeah. Let them unlock it. It'll become dog shit without your involvement, and that's your leverage, saying that you're essential to this operation being worthwhile. Don't give in to their fucking bullshit. That's like not... Also, they announced that their boycott was going to be 48 hours. They had announced in the very jump here that we're going to boycott Reddit for 48 hours. Yeah. Which is like, you can't announce your boycott with like an expiration, because they're gonna outweight you. Like you gotta threaten indefinite. Publicly, you say indefinite boycott.
Otherwise, it's like one of those like organized public marches where it's
teach
like
them how to do it. They were so bad at it. It was so fucking bad.
Yeah,
and then they caved in anyway, and here we are now. So here we are.
Well, boy.
Literally, that's it. That's.
I
I'm
don't
sorry,
even- I don't
LSF.
even
You're
think-
fucking cringe. I'm sorry.
I don't even think about the
Holy shit.
bureaucracy of LSF. I just think about like the weird stances that they'll take, and like here's the thing: it's like you have to know that it's such a selective echo chamber of like 3 communities, and like they will. If there's a hate thread about someone they hate, the haters go to that, and if it could be the same part, like everything's so polarized on that subreddit, man. It's bizarre. Except for apparently on the issue of racism and how it applies to white people. Apparently, they all universally agreed that like whites are being discriminated against, and that it must be mobilized, and that all criticism of people are equal regardless of the systemic power they wield.
I wonder how they feel with the Buffalo, New York shooting, or the Jacksonville Dollar General shooting.
No thoughts. No thoughts.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. That's political. I'm sorry.
No.
That's political.
That's look. Come on.
Oh. No,
You're moving the goalposts. Moving the disingenuous.
thoughts and prayers. You're saying. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. It was a mental. Issue because racism is a mental issue, not a societal issue. You're right.
Can I ask you a real hot button topic here?
Those weren't hot dogs before. Okay.
No, this one's just like real.
Oh, this is molten hot. Okay, go ahead.
Fuck, I don't know if I even want to touch this one actually.
Oh, reverse psychology. Oh, you're so good. Okay.
I don't know.
Oh God, you're blue
Okay,
ball.
what do you think about gambling?
Oh.
How do you feel about that? You can also choose to not speak on it. You can plead the fifth. I spoke a lot about it.
Do you want me to? No, I'm not scared of talking about it. I don't know if you want me to go into like particularly like predatory gambling practices against the youth, or just gambling as an ethical practice as a whole.
Let's talk
or
about
like
enriching yourself through the platforming of gambling.
Yeah, man, that's a fickle one. I'm indifferent towards gambling, enriching yourself, but when it comes to like the direct exploitation of it targeting minors, and or the utilization of tax haven loopholes that just lead to I don't know, the further lack of accountability of the exploitation of the audience in question here, I do find it kind of hard. If we're talking about like particularly Stake being a crypto casino.
Hold on. We didn't mention Stake. Come on.
We did. You're right. We didn't. But I was getting to. I'm trying to keep it broad and principled here.
No.
But yeah, a crypto casino anchored in a tax haven loophole country. Rooted in obviously acquiring content creators that are overwhelmingly having young, influenceable viewership bases that have disposable income. I don't know. You connect all the dots there, just kind of like, man, it's tough on the swallow.
Do you want to know what
It's unethical. However, do I like? Am I as opposed to it? I have a condition here. Okay, the question would ultimately be. So I'm just gonna skip your principles and get to the nuance here or the specifics here. Would I go to Kick if I was offered a deal? Right. Let's just say that. Right. The answer to that to me would be okay. I've given it some thought here. I would entertain going to Kick or any competitor that did all this unethical bullshit, and if I got a fat payday and I can do more good with the fat payday they give me than I could do with like 10x the amount of time at my stagnant income at Twitch, hypothetically.
See, my question then would be, to what extent... Now, I understand being like, okay, if I get a good payday and that's what I need to essentially guarantee the stability of my life, sure, one thing. But now we know pretty much the economics of any payout are going to come down to you are netting them far more than you are ever going to get paid.
Correct.
So is there now the thought of I am... on a monetary level incapable of offsetting the bad I'm getting paid to promote through whatever good I'm able to do with that money?
That is possible, yeah.
That's always been my thought, is like, I know how this works, and you are only ever going to pay me just enough for me to take it. You know, it's never going to be the true value of whatever partnership it is. Or maybe, you know, you just don't know because you're a fuck-off marketing team that doesn't get it.
Yeah.
The way I see it is that I actually don't think it matters whether or not the audience is a predominantly minor or otherwise. I think, sure, influencing impressionable kids who are like, this is cool, is one thing. But I think that the issue will always remain that the actual target are the most neurochemically vulnerable. And that's bad regardless, because I think most people, when I think of gambling, I do not think in any universe that it involves sitting at your computer spamming a space bar. Ever. I don't think that that's ever fun gambling. I think that if there's ever gambling I'd promote, it's like, what is healthy gambling is like going to Vegas with your friends with $500 and leaving with none because you know you're going to lose it all, and that's that. You know what I mean? I think that on the whole, any gambling that happens at your computer in a dark room, probably not exactly healthy. I have a few friends who gamble. I don't know anyone who does it at home alone and is okay. My big take is that the whole premise is, how do we find the people who we can milk dry forever? You know, who can we find the people who are going to be
Harpoon the
enslaved?
whales.
Yeah, exactly.
The emotional whales.
And I don't think those are really. I think kids help with building notoriety. They're ravenous consumers. They'll promote things. You know, if you get audiences with kids in them, they're going to be more visible events, and that's the important thing. But I think at the end of the day, what they really want is to find the most, terminally online, misguided, escapist people possible, and just kill them. You know what I mean? Those are the people that keep these businesses afloat. And so I don't know. It's like at the end of the day, I kind of, especially when it comes to like, I think that you could make some concessions to things that are actual games where you're betting against other players and not the house. You know what I mean? I think that that's the case. But I think when it comes to like anything where you're betting against the house when it's, mind you, wholly unregulated, that's the big concern too. Because you want to know what's crazy is that Stake is one of the few websites that actually has a team that designs their own games. They literally own all of the code. No one oversees it. They can set whatever odds they want.
Yeah, and not disclose them at all.
Never.
Right. Yeah,
that's nuts.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I get it. At the end of the day, I think it's really hard to make money as a content creator. There are going to be people who are like, I care about my family. I care about my loved ones. I need to make the money that I can. And if it's there, I'm going to take
let's
it.
also clarify, like, realistically here, they can't buy you out in perpetuity. Like,
No.
it would be like a 1 to 3 year deal in some capacity. There would be obligations and deliverables and all that here. And if you can go over there and just do it for like, I mean, also, okay, while it is true that gambling on its own is exploitative and rooted in a bunch of garbage and whatnot here, ultimately we are working forward to the beneficiary of a $1.4 trillion market cap company like Amazon that is routinely union busting, labor violations, and the epitome of labor batteries, and then some here. So like, who are we? Okay, we can try to do moral grandstanding here, but it's like we're in a capital society. Like it's exploitation all around here. And you'd be hard pressed to find any company that's even approaching 1/10 of Amazon's worth that's actually behaving in any ethical capacity.
I totally agree. If you were going to go like brass tacks on just like what are the like ethics of each company, it's like, well, at the end of the day, it's to take as much as they can from as many people as they can and line their own pockets. I, however, think that there's a bit of a I'm not a huge fan of that rhetoric, only because I think that it denies the intimacy of exploitation that you are personally outsourcing to your community. You know, that you're responsible for, perpetuating. Because, while I do, it's clear that I provide a service to Twitch in that, like, I'm not getting paid to bust unions or necessarily promote. I might get paid a bit of money, obviously, through Prime and like through the relationship between I consume Twitch, therefore I get Prime subs, or I get a Amazon Prime subscription through that or something. Someone does that maybe. From I watch Twitch stream, I find Amazon Prime, maybe I do that. But I think that when you look at an absolutely anemic to non-existent internal revenue generation, there's the website doesn't make money, so the sole valuation of your labor is based on conversion to gambling addicts, conversion of your audience to gambling addicts.
No, that's fair.
That is where I think it's different. However, again, at the end of the day, dude, we have to stay afloat. We're tasked with existing in capitalist schemas, and I'm into that. You know what I mean? Like, you have to do what you have to do to stay afloat. Some people might be able to assess their community and be like, this is a loss on their end. I know my community. I know that they're not going to do this, I know my audience. I kind of get it. I've got friends who have gone to Kick. I have plenty of, and my thoughts are my thoughts because I'm thinking about it in the abstract. But I understand the reality of, I don't know how long this lasts, and I have people who depend on me. You know what I mean? And I think that people are going to act accordingly. But that's what I think is interesting, is like the intimacy of exploitation.
No, you're not wrong. And also, there was more components here. I was trying to I said I would consider, not that I would necessarily do, and the committing to actually doing such a deal would come down to like how much. Again, I think the biggest opponent of any streamer or any content creator like me and you is going to be burnout, because burnout is it's the final end, because there's no way to heal that faster than time off, and time off is what erodes your relevance.
Career, easy.
Yeah, so like if you you're burned out,
off, by the way?
Huh?
Have you taken significant time off at any point?
I actually had a terrible work-life balance where I let the fear of irrelevance rob me of the joy of vacation. I never took a true vacation until literally May of 2022.
Do you think it made you a better streamer taking vacation?
100%.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
I think the biggest.
But
fallacy
but
is
again,
streaming.
it took me. But I was working full time, July 2015 to May 2022. Every trip I took was a business expense that was either calculated and either going to raise my relevance or perform at a gaming charity function or whatever. I never did a true vacation where I was off the grid, not thinking about work, not networking, not tweeting, actual mental detox. Until my therapist like begged me to take work-life balance seriously.
Yeah, therapy's cool, by the way, guys. You should do it.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear. Like,
I
I'm
mean-
serious. It stopped me from killing myself many times. You should look into it. It's good. A good therapist, by the way. There are also bad therapists. A bad therapist is...
Yeah,
bad.
you got to keep trying. You can't
It's
be
like
cocky
dating.
and entitled that you're going to find someone who works for you, with you, intimately compatible on your first try.
No, it's
I
like
didn't- I didn't
marrying the
myself.
first person you go on a date with. You gotta date. It's speed dating.
You got to be patient.
But like I think that one of the biggest things people tend to forget about when they're entertainers, especially streamers, is that you are literally fucking valueless outside of your perspective and experiences. And in the event that you aren't nourishing that and giving new perspective, new things to talk about, it's like, unless you just play games. If you're like fucking, I don't know, even dudes like Shroud is like nuts at games, you know, but he's like charming and entertaining in like a way that I think is pretty captivating. It's like you have to be good. You have to have new shit to talk about. But we become so transfixed by the labor and like the kind of like metagaming of streaming and like staying live and doing shit that like you just start hemorrhaging like brain cells over time. You don't have new things.
You do. And you know what's funny? You bring up such a point that I really wanted to hammer on to here. What is it about the fact that, like, if I make compelling like this conversation right now,
Yeah.
this is called for more of my brain capacity than me playing whatever high execution game I would have played normally otherwise, right?
Yeah.
But then, like, what's it with, like, Twitch audience valuing how long you're live? Oh, damn. How long's TriHex been live?
Oh,
16
dude,
hours?
That's old head shit.
Oh, man, bro, he's a hardcore game, bro, respect.
No, that's all.
Dude,
that's
that
old
that
frog stuff.
that
dude.
attitude, I'm just like, we just value the binge culture more. Like,
No, dude, I think it's
so unhealthy. Like,
degen culture. I think that it's
degen culture, there
actually
you go, yeah.
you communicating to old frog, tried and true hardcore gamers that you're one of them because you put down 16 hours in a game. You know what I mean?
In one session, yeah.
That's far more what it is. Like people do the same thing with me, right? So like. I did a couple big like game binges. I did it with Baldur's Gate and I did it with Wrath Classic when it launched. I love RPGs and shit, and so with Wrath Classic, I think I did like a 40-hour stream or like a 48. It was like almost a 2-day. And then with Baldur's Gate, we did like a 20-something hour stream. Will Neff and I did, and like it was great. But people would come in and be like, "Wake's a fucking on that game grind. Like it's a gamer." Gamer hours. Look at this dude, Giga Gamer. It's like no one's ever given. Like I'd get first time chatters of people who were like, "This dude's gaming," and it's like,
Bro,
all right,
dude.
fucking. You just like once you saw the hours, you were like, now this dude has a fucking gamer hog. You know what I mean?
dude, they love that. It's just weird. They love it, dude. Not only that, so I meal prep, right? I
Yeah.
meal prep. I diet.
What do you meal prep?
I usually do 4 days a week. I have the same boring shit, which is gonna be my a combination of ground turkey, egg whites, caramelized onions, Greek yogurt, half an apple.
Do you like it?
I love it. Oh yeah,
Good, yeah.
I feel great. Yeah,
same
it's food.
Isn't it funny how
You
look
said
forward
food
to
is function, which is crazy because like that's literally what I say. Ask my chat. Ask my chat. I literally say once you get to the entitlement of like or the enlightenment of food is function, you're free of all the temptation of like the usual taboos that like hold you back from getting to your body goals and whatnot.
No, it's funny too because like even beyond function, it's like what you learn is that food is expectation more than anything, and that once you grow to like expect this routine meal, you crave it and you look forward to it, and it's tasty to you and it's satisfying. It's like I remember in like 2018, I took this fucking motorcycle trip. I like sold all my shit and I got on a motorcycle and I rode from Alaska or Denver to Alaska and then Alaska to Argentina. And the whole time I just listened to podcasts and like books on tape. And I was listening to like a book on tape about the Epicureans, which is like, you know, a whole like school of philosophy. And the idea, which I don't know, I don't want to be like fucking pedantic and like, do you know this? But like there was this idea that the ultimate virtue wasn't pleasure. I think people like conflate Epicureans with like pleasure, but it was actually about the absence of pain. Like hedonism is the pursuit of pleasure. Epicureans were like the absence of pain. And I was like, can I apply that to food, right? Because like am I actually like craving a flavor, or am I just wanting respite from hunger? Is that really what I'm looking for? And so I started to like, how bare bones, like there's just like a philosophical thing. It's like, how bare bones can I get my diet? You know what I mean? Like without flavor. And I learned that like, regardless of what I was satisfying myself with, I was just fucking like rock hard to eat food and like get rid of my hunger after a while.
Correct.
Once I took that away,
Humans are anti-hunger, not necessarily the nourishment of like a taste sensation is, I think, a learned
yes, 100%, dude.
behavior.
Dude, you see that? Did you ever watch the show Naked and Afraid before?
Yes.
Dude, you know how fucking like it's like they would fucking find like a snail on a wall and cook it and just be nutting themselves.
It's so good.
Like it's nuts. No, guys, I use I'm gonna do a cooking stream. You can shut the fuck up, okay? I do use spices. I'm not a fucking cretin. I like food.
Oh my
My
God.
food tastes great. I just they say that. I promise you to be like, that looks like gruel, dude. But like I eat the same food every day. I've done it for like 3 years. Same meals. I think it's like an autism thing where I'm like, I need like a really extreme ritual and routine. Like it fucking like it
it gives you
scratches me.
stabilization. It gives you like fulfillment and confidence. It make you know. I totally get it. I mean, I've been doing the same shit for like 4 years plus now with that diet because it's like it works really well for me.
Awesome, dude. It's so nice.
Ground turkey is fucking broken. Like it's like
I actually don't like the flavor of ground turkey. I used to do it though. I moved
well,
on from
so it's funny because whenever we make it, I ask my girlfriend to not season it so that way I can like just get it down faster because unlike chicken ground turkey I can just kind of like I chew it less. I can just hurp and get it down because it's pure function. I'm just like, okay, yeah, this is just like done and done. Because if I have to season it, then it's like I palate it longer on my tongue, and I'm therefore taking longer to eat it and whatnot. So I just view it as a pure function thing.
Interesting.
I also used to I did a separate hack where I would eat a salad without dressing. I would just take like a fuck ton of like spinach and then like douse it in like a Parmesan truffle seasoning and use like cranberries and just treat it like potato chips.
Yeah.
I would eat them like chips and it'd be like a mental hack of like having the tactile texture of like chips or whatever.
I would do that with any kind of just like fucking like pure like vinegary hot sauce essentially, and like celery and shit. Like anything that I had that was just like a snack I could consume. Spinach, same shit. I would just fucking throw it in my mouth, dude. I'm the same. Guys, I can't just go use my entire... Everyone's like, this... Dude, if you were on S-Fan, guess what? You get this setup, motherfucker. That's what you get. A bunch of backseat streamer Andys in there, you know? They're like, wait, why don't you make real content and go do things and think... No, guys, you get conversations, reacts, and video games at 2 in the morning. That's what you get. You like it. You like it. Do you ever feel like you should be doing other things with your content? Are you ever like, I don't like what I'm doing anymore?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was looking for fulfillment. So there was a period where I was going through an insecurity bout, and I didn't know. Okay, so
What do you mean by that?
okay, so
Can you define insecurity bout?
the insecurity bout was manifested from the difference between what I felt my expectation was and where I actually was, because I fuck heavy with fitness and exercise and all that here.
Hello, boys.
Yo.
Hey.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to bed. So you guys.
Shit. Yeah, you've been at it for a while. Do you want to get out of here? I don't want to hold you hostage here, man. You're gonna be here for like 30 days. We can chat anytime.
Yeah, you know
Don't worry.
that's a. Oh my god, I thought it was like.
I looked at the clock too.
I thought it was like 11:30. It's like, are you normally this nocturnal?
Yeah, I wake up at like 4 p.m.
Okay, that you are a terrible influence. And yeah, I need to.
I stream the night
Oh
shift.
my god. Yeah, I'm supposed to like. What are we doing that thing with Nick tomorrow? Is that tomorrow? Hope it's
Didn't
not.
he say Monday?
Oh, thank God. He did say Monday.
Yeah, he
Thank
said
God.
Monday.
Bro, my heart just sank my ass. I thought I was gonna have to like
Well,
go.
aren't you like starting
Nah,
the stuff
you're
with
good.
Miz tomorrow? You gotta like build your whole.
Yeah.
Your whole thing?
Okay, we should stop.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know if you wanted this, but you left this in my room.
Oh,
I
thank
thought
you.
were coming in with the
Kombucha.
cat.
I'll just end. What was I saying? Okay, I want to end the thing we're starting though.
You're saying we're looking for fulfillment.
Oh, I felt it. Okay, yeah, I'll see you in a bit.
Night-night.
So
Night chat.
because I'm like really savvy on like fitness, nutrition, like dedication, motivation,
Drive.
dietitian drive, motivation, everything else
Power.
here. Yeah, I felt like I had to become like fitness was becoming part of my brand, so I felt like it was really important to like do like what the normies want, which is like, okay, get douchebag abs, like just get 10% body fat, have the abs, do the photo shoot. I have abs, fuck the haters, and then now I'm like, essentially like certified, like my credentials on fitness are way better,
Yeah.
right? And so that I was pushing really hard to get to that goal, arbitrarily 10% body fat, which is really fucking hard to do because my body hates me at 12% body fat. 12% I have like dimples and all that, but it was just like, god damn, I'm like, bro, I'm so fucking hungry. I'm under eating so hard right now to get to
Getting
this.
lean is really hard, man.
Dude, it's so fucking hard. Like the hardest part was like just trying to fall asleep when I'm doing like a 500 calorie deficit. It's just like, god damn, bro. I have headaches. I'm having like sexual dreams about fucking Wendy's and shit. I give Wendy's no conscious thought in my entire day.
Well, you know,
I go to
it's
bed
like-
and it's like a 4-hour dream, wet dream about like fucking getting a baconator. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with me right now?
No, yeah, no, 100%.
So the insecurity bout was the fact that I was stagnant at like 12.5%, and I felt entitled to 10% body fat. And because I wasn't able to meet that, despite putting in tremendous effort every day at the gym and whatnot, I just like felt like I failed. I'm like, fuck, this is supposed to be what gets me like, you know, to pop off and like get more subs and everything else. You're like supposed to like work for me, not against me. I'm streaming less to do the gym more.
Oh yeah.
And then when I do stream, I'm streaming with like less energy because I'm pushing so hard in the fucking gym right now. This has to work. Sunken cost fallacy. It has to fucking work. And then I never get there.
I also, frankly, straight up, I don't even fucking think fitness content pops off on. As someone who like I came through fitness, like the whole like Camp Canute thing was like what brought me to Twitch. Like, even when I get more with my desktop streams. People, when I go stream the
I
gym,
agree.
people are
No,
like,
it sucks. Unfortunately, it does not. It's not a core appeal. I don't think gamers are anti-fitness, but I don't think gamers are like looking for
even worse, dude.
because it requires confronting your core values, and there's an entitlement to how they currently eat and how they currently live. And if I get too preachy on like why they are how they are with their body types and all that, it's me poking the bear on their core values. Admittedly, it's just not a priority for you. You feel too entitled to what you currently eat and how you currently don't do anything physically active, and then you also feel upset though about why you're like, you know, you're overweight or obese or whatever.
And here's my straight up take, like, at the same time too, there's no fitness imperative in my mind. If you don't derive satisfaction from that pursuit and you're not dissatisfied with not being fit, I don't think you fucking need to. I think that if you're unhappy and you're looking for a locus of control in your life and you would like to feel more fit, you don't like how you feel in your body, then fuck yeah, 100%. But like for me personally, I'm not prescriptive with fitness. I think that it's a great blanket solution to a sense of stagnance. I think that it's a good physical, objective thing you can do every day that eludes subjective appraisal. I got 5 pounds stronger. I lost, 2 pounds this week. That shit is enough to make you, to engage that kind of reward circuitry that you need to feel like you're in control of shit. But I think fitness is a content model. It's super repetitious. You're hammering the same points over and over again. And at the end of the day, to be a great fitness content creator, you have to lie.
It's true. There has to be.
You have to have
you want
a
to treat
magic pill.
you want to treat the symptom and you want to promise weapon X as opposed to actually getting to the core.
Yeah,
of like,
fitness is very boring. It's not cinematic. It's repetitious.
Unfortunately,
you
yeah.
just watch the same shit forever. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing cool to it, and that might
And
suck.
and I can tell that is manifested in trueness because like the amount of people who just like come at me and are like, "What's the secret? How do I do it? How do you give so many fucks? How do you just eat this boring shit every fucking day? How do you stop drinking soda? How do you like TriHex? What's the secret?" And it's like, dog, there's no secret.
Yeah,
The secret is it's a lifestyle change, or you have to admit you want to make it a priority
Dude, the way that
and start becoming more dedicated and motivated towards it.
my advice to everyone is to start with the smallest actionable thing you can do every single day forever without any hesitation. So it's like, rather than being like, I got to start in the gym, go on a 5-minute walk and do that for 3 weeks every day. Like my whole premise is built on prioritizing habit, because I think that habit will carry you through poor execution. Like if you have habit, that is the most important. You can augment habit. Building habit is the thing that's going to stop you from doing it. You just have to fucking build it.
I agree.
I'm not holding him hostage. He's going to go to bed.
Hey, I'm just wrapping up, y'all.
Respectful Coomer.
I forgot what the initial question was though. 'Cause I was trying to wrap that one up here.
Oh, we're talking about fulfillment and like where you weren't finding it and why.
Oh
you
yeah,
wanted to change it.
so going to because it was like going to kick. Yeah,
No, we
so-
were talking about just wanting to change just what you were doing with your stream, with your life, and just like fucking like you wanting like to change something, just feeling like shit. I got to do something different.
Is that what I said? Okay, I don't. I thought it was about like. I thought it was like because you asked about the kick thing and I thought I had elaborated that like. I rationalize whether or not I can provoke more positive change by just simply like going there, making way more money in a short term, and then turning around and inspiring more change with the revenue possible from that. And that if could that possibly outweigh the negatives coming from the.
Oh, I thought we had like totally abandoned that. Yeah, no. I think it's.
But what I was gonna say about that was the fact that like I let me think here. Fuck was it? I'm sorry, my brain's farting right now. I don't know if I would go there because I don't know if I find fulfillment in it. I don't know if I find fulfillment in reading a kick chat. It would have the same eagerness as I would have as like reading a
they're no tryhards.
A Twitch chat comparatively. You know, it's just like I've never had to do it before. I just know that right now I enjoy live streaming tremendously. I enjoy YouTube making YouTube content infinitely less. It's like I said, it's 90%. Here I'm in the moment.
Yeah, it's way
and
cooler.
it feels tangible and real. On YouTube, it's 95% of me being just in Premiere Pro editing the video, and it's just kind of like, yeah, it's done.
Oh no, I straight up can't summon that kind of like YouTube. Like the second something is like planned and indicative of like my best effort is the second I feel a ton of anxiety around it. I like how improvisational this is. I do nothing. I go live. I talk about what I'm thinking about that day. And that's it. And like that's why I can keep working. Once I have to be like, this is the best thing I can make.
Yeah, no, it's. I'm also like Twitch brain though, because I'm like, I mean, I've been doing live streaming. I've been a Twitch streamer, not a content creator, for like 10 years, and this is like year one of me admitting here that if I desire growth, I have to venture on all fronts. I have to like start getting into YouTube, taking YouTube seriously, taking YouTube shorts seriously.
Oh yeah.
And then also using the social medias to like proliferate further.
You've got the single best growth arc ahead of you where like you just get to fucking race Miz in something. That's like just make a ton of YouTube content around that. That'll be it's an already built-in narrative. It's the shit.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Guys, go follow TriHex. Fucking
yeah. This has been really fun by the way. I genuinely I literally walked in here at Bonnie's insistence. I did not want to impede. I didn't know what the fuck you were in the middle of. I didn't even know like. Quite frankly, honestly, I didn't even really know what kind of content you actually did offhand. I was just like, oh, okay.
No,
cool.
I don't expect people to know what I do on Twitch.
No, and it's not a knock, by the way. It's because like I stream so often that I barely consume Twitch.
I'm not a watcher at all. I take no offense in you not knowing what. I'm like a very new kind of niche streamer. You'd have to be like really invested in OTK to know me, you know. But I appreciate you coming on and chatting, man.
Well, I guess you know what I should. Okay, before I go, just give me the cheat sheet here. What is it? What is your core content? I feel like this is like, is this what you do daily? Just like extended?
I do this, but with my chat, just about every day, and then I talk. I watch a lot of. I watch a good deal of just like content I can comment on, mostly like social commentary stuff, and I don't get super political. I mostly just do like I meme about a lot of like dating culture, sex, shit like that. Watching dumb videos.
I do love watching the dating culture stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you. I find it so funny how much actually, like built-in entitlement there is on like the modern paradigm of dating now. It's like
so much. I also think that there's like a lot of interesting conversation to be built out of it. Like I actually like it a lot. Like I don't think it's as vacant as people like, you know, some of like the more like lazy reactors make it. I think that it's only pulpy content if you allow it to go unconsidered. Like I'll even watch reality TV stuff, like old like dumb like Australian dating shows and shit, and I think that there's like actually stuff to take.
Goldmine, wife swap.
Wife swap?
Wife swap is
people have recommended it to me. I've thought about it.
Broken.
But I don't know. I do that. I do gaming and I talk a lot. I honestly have been in a bit of a existential crisis.
You sound like me right now. Like, that's what I mean. My chat be calling me YapHex. They was like, man, bro, shut the fuck up already. Like, where's the? I have an emote called show them chat the try gameplay. They have an emote for the fact that I never actually get to the games.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I tell my
that
chat
right there.
that I'm gonna play it all the time.
That right there, like just because I never fucking. You say you talk too much. I have an emote for it. Literally.
No, my chat is a running list of all the things I've abandoned every game. They're like, certainly we're gonna play Persona again. But here's the thing, dude. Like, I'm not a huge creator. If no one's live, I can get actually it's a pretty great viewership. If all my friends are live, it's hard. And then if I play games, I can almost guarantee I'm going to get half of whatever I'm getting elsewhere. And I'm still in that place where it's like, people got to fucking watch me still. Like, I don't have that grace of, like, if I start nonstop thrusting games, which I love games, I would do it. I can't throw away consistent viewership like that. You know what I mean?
I understand.
People get turned away. It sucks. I wish it wasn't.
I understand. That's where. So that's partially what fuels me to like get more growth too, because I don't want to compromise the content I want to make because I gotta make more money arbitrarily.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I need to like fatten up the cock a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna do some gender reaffirming things here. You know, it's gotta
broaden it, widen it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, Michael.
We make a lot of big cock stuff here. That's I consider that on the table because I also tell people that it doesn't matter. You know, we do both.
I try to fight the good fight on that one too.
It really doesn't.
Yeah, don't get porn pilled, Chad. Holy shit.
No.
But
unless you want to get laid, in which case.
Well, the question is, do you want to get laid or do you want to feel like what's more important, her satisfaction?
Do you want to give women
or
orgasms?
or is it your validation?
Because if it's your validation, don't watch porn. But if
correct.
it's her orgasm, obviously take notes.
Yeah. Ask her. Get feedback.
They're screaming.
Like,
step one is apparently
don't listen to DJ Khaled. You know, kings don't eat. That's fucking bullshit. Like that's cringe as fuck, honestly. Yeah.
Wait,
like,
dude, that had to have been bait, right? There's no way.
You didn't see that?
No. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Like, yeah, dude. What do you like, dude? It's DJ. It's Khaled. He thought he had a one up there. Like, you know, yeah, I'm gonna hit him with the unconventional. Yeah, you know, like, you know. I put food on the table. You know, you got this house.
Here's my take in opposition to that is I think that it's like weird male pick me shit to be like, I eat pussy because I like it. And it's like, I like it. I like giving my partner pleasure, but if it didn't, I wouldn't eat her pussy. You know what I mean? Like, if she didn't like it, I wouldn't be eating it. It's fun because she likes it, and I have fun with it because of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's validating to you because it gives her great pleasure.
Yeah, it's but like, if it didn't, I'm not gonna be like, babe, for me. Like, it's fun because I get to
you're not wrong. Okay, yeah, you're talking about that. When you said the pick me, I remember you talking about that. Yeah, that.
Yeah, it's like I don't like here's the thing, man. Like, I think eating pussy is super cool and you should do it, but I also think we shouldn't be patting ourselves on the back because we do it. That's like, congrats, man. It's like saying you stop at red lights to me. It's like you're just doing what you should be doing. You know what I mean? That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's good.
Well, I mean, you got positive. There's a pretty sizable chunk of like tape pilled losers who are just like, you know, yeah, I don't fuck with that shit. I don't do that because rooted in some kind of like anti-soy technology, like it's like, you know, I don't eat pussy because I'm a giga Chad.
That's one of John's.
I don't even wipe my ass after I shit because I'm so fucking alpha.
They're like, imagine
I let
giving
that
your
shit
partner
crust.
pleasure, you know.
What's up?
No, she respects. She'll probably be grateful that you care about her pleasure. You know what I mean? That's a good thing. Care. Just ask questions. Be like, do you like this? Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, it's just talk to women, dude. Oh my god, like half the shit that freaks people out. If you just like talk to women in general. It's crazy.
Typically, if you have an opinion about someone that you don't represent, you should talk to people like that to see if it's a good opinion to have.
I wonder how many transphobes have even like spoke. No. I didn't have to even finish the question. You already knew the answer.
Zero trans people.
You knew the answer.
You talk to one trans person, you're like, oh shit, you're just.
Oh my god, you're normal. That's... Wow, I thought you were gonna be like a feminazi, whatever, right?
You just don't want to have fucking bottles thrown at you from cars moving in traffic.
Also the pronoun bros or whatever, the pronoun debate bros. It's like, so wait, if I called you Mrs. Chad, you wouldn't freak out.
No, exactly. No,
it's like you're not even fucking valid,
you
dude.
Care. We
you
literally
clearly care about how you're perceived here.
So
holy shit!
When you came in, that's what we were doing. I was like, well, because I saw that Dr. Disrespect clip, and he's like, I can't believe they included pronouns in this, and it was like, it didn't feel like it might have been, but it didn't feel like it. And I was saying, like, you know, like, I bet if people go in there and just call him a fucking girl and misgender him, he'd care about pronouns because we all.
If you called him Mrs. Disrespect, what would he?
Eventually he might get a little bit like, guys, stop it. I'm not, you know, fucking all right. Time them out, months. You know what I mean?
So your perceived that your perceived gender identity is important to you. Okay.
Yeah, no, 100%.
All right. Well, checkmate, bitch.
It's like, yeah, to go figure. And, like,
damn.
that's the other thing. It's like when people put their fucking pronouns in their bio, especially when they're, like, pretty obvious, like, you know, like when they're obviously presenting as the gender that they identify as and like to be recognized as, they're doing it because it helps normalize that so that the people don't feel fucking weird when they're like, you know, by the way, this is what it's making it more of a standard practice, you know, standard operating procedure for you to be like, what do you want to be called? That's it, you know? It's very
Also,
easy.
if we can't hear it while we're jabbing this little thing, it's got to hit them all the way here.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, these same losers are also the ones that are like, they're anti-trans or anti-pronouns or whatever the fuck it may be, but it's also like they're also pro gender reaffirming care when it's reinforcing their biological gender.
Sure, yeah.
So like, you know, receding hairline, you know, get Bosley medical treatment. Okay, that's cool. Beard implants are a thing, by the way. Now,
Yeah.
I learned that on TikTok the other day. Fucking, they do that too. It's like, okay, wait. So you're against hormone therapy for at-risk trans youth, yada yada yada, and you're against like consenting full-grown adults getting this, incredibly authoritarian and unconstitutional. But then you can do it
Yeah, I agree.
for like, wait, you're
silly.
so comically not principled. Oh my god, you're so cringe.
The point is that it's more, I don't get this and I'm so scared. I'm a scared little baby boy and I don't
Well, then
understand
just admit
it.
that. Then talk to someone. Do some
And be
research.
a beta cuck bitch?
Because new information may change your viewpoint, and that's not hypocritical.
No, dude, you have to die on every hill you've ever walked on. It's debate culture.
I have to.
Otherwise,
Is that the Constitution? Is that that's in the
yes, it's
26th Amendment?
It was a green text thing. You had to be there, man. Don't know what to tell you. Don't be a bitch.
Okay. All right. Well, being American sucks, dude.
Yeah. You know,
Fuck.
go drive your car to the room that you're staying in.
Well, all right.
Parking is $100.
Fuck America. I'm out.
All
All right, bro,
Bye,
dude.
dude.
No,
It's
actually,
good
you know what,
chatting,
dude?
yeah.
That was
Good chat.
good shit, dude. Y'all follow. Wait, oh my God.
Follow TriHex.
That was good. I just did a call. I was gonna do. I just did
You
a
know what?
call.
You know what? Fuck him. Follow me, chat. Follow me.
Follow-
Follow Wake Wilder. See, I'm gonna cover the. Who the fuck is this guy? No, it was fun, man. I had a cool time.
Awesome. Yeah, listen, chat. I'll be here. I'm here until October 2nd, so I'm sure we'll do more
pop
shit.
in whenever. You can always come
Yeah.
Stunlock. All right, man.
All right, so
Sleep
I
well,
gotta
man.
go.
Yes.
God damn, I gotta get some sleep.
You're over to. Hey, thanks for the hang, man.